my yawn that's about to happen. Oh, geez. We are here for our monthly talk show. Oh, my God. It's Thursday night. It is the State of Geek. As always, my two buddies are here, Zach and Sean.
Hi.
And we are going to talk through a lot of stuff. So we thought it was prudent to have a show now because there was a lot of announcements, and the wheel of things, haha, it's spoilers for later. The wheel of things is coming back into fruition. So a lot of things are starting to release trailers. There's a lot of things starting to happen. There's a lot more traction. Not that we're getting back to normal just yet, because as you can tell, we are still doing this show remotely. We are still at I'm in my respective bunker /
We are huddling.
Gaming cave. And, you know, Zach and Sean are in their respective homes, hobbit dwellings, or bridges, wherever they dwell.
My feet are hairy enough.
There you go. So they are tucked away and in cover. So but that was weird. I just sort of banged through the wall. That's not off-putting at all. All right, cool. And apparently my bunker is haunted. Nice. Love me some ghosts. Oh, we got to talk about that too.
Shit. Got a ghost?
I forgot about Ghostbusters. All right, so we'll talk about that too. So please join us now. As always, we kick these things off with an icebreaker question, which was supplied to us by Zach, our resident scholar and icebreaker expert. I don't know if that. I don't know if that's sure. I don't know if that's a thing, but we'll give that a thing.
I can explain it.
What, the made-up title I just made?
Yeah, thank you. I always accept titles. I have been reading the Gentleman Bastards series. I'm on book 2. I believe there are only 3 of them, but it is extremely fun. It's basically if there is a magic light world set in the Renaissance in Italian city-states, and the main characters are trying to be smarter and more clever than everybody else while stealing all their money. So, because of that, I came up with this icebreaker question, which is, there is going to be a heist, and we need to build a team of fictional characters to pull it off. There are 3 core positions that must be filled: the mastermind, the face, and the wild card. The only real rider to this is you can't use anybody from, like, heist or crime media, because that is too easy.
So no Danny Ocean.
No Danny Ocean.
Wait, I can't. You said no crime media?
I'll allow crime media, but no heist media.
Heist media, okay.
Yeah.
So it can be it can be mysteries.
Yes, mysteries are fine.
Okay, got it.
All right, so we're all gonna roll a die. I'm gonna roll mine electronically because I am now a hollow shell of a man.
Why are we rolling dice?
To see who gets to go first.
Okay.
What? You don't find that? No?
That's fine. I was gonna say who's ready to go first, which seems to work fine. Because I have a funny feeling that Sean doesn't know yet, I don't know yet, and you're ready to go first, Zach.
Okay.
Did I predict the future correctly?
I mean, I got something. But...
Oh, you got something? All right.
So, Sean, you roll.
Yeah.
I got a 3.
My dice are all the way over there.
Where dice? There dice. There dice.
Oh, I should specify. We should probably use 6-sided dice.
I like that. I like how he's just in the end there. I might like to tell you that.
Well, I realize we have many variety of dice on us.
That was pretty funny because I was gonna say I rolled an 11. So,
I mean, we
glad.
can roll 20-sided dice.
I'm glad we qualified that. All right. So Sean, what'd you roll on your 6-sided die, bro?
4.
Okay.
Cool. I'm now gonna roll my 6-sided dice telepathically with my mind. It's a 1. Oh wow, I go last. Good job.
All right, Sean, you're first. Then it is I, and then it is our hapless telepath.
Oh, that's how the order going? Alright, fine.
I just want to go last, Sean. I didn't think of my people yet. I just didn't want to go first.
Alright, shit, alright, what was it? Mastermind, face, and wildcard?
Mm-hmm.
What is face? Can you define that? Like pretty face?
Your bard?
Basically, the face is the talker, the one who is good in social situations.
So then why'd you just say talker? Okay, got it. Fine. Face. Got it. Face.
Face is a term that's used in other media also.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead, Sean. I've interrupted. I'm sorry.
Okay, I guess mastermind, I don't know. Thinking, well, not like Sherlock Holmes or something.
God damn you, Sean.
Haha, you should have gone first.
You son of a bitch.
All right, yep. So I can definitely see Sherlock Holmes as a mastermind plotting a heist instead of solving them.
I was thinking the Robert Downey Jr. version where he's just like being an asshole and like doing like that stupid like slow-mo, thinking everything through first. You know?
Every Sherlock Holmes does that.
Yeah, but he's doing it while punching people.
Yeah.
Right, but in the original Sherlock Holmes novels, he does know how to. He knows karate.
Yeah, but
No, right. But like, I mean, like specifically the like visual mechanic of like doing the
Okay.
slow-mo
Okay.
things.
All right.
yeah, the Guy Ritchie version.
Okay. All right. All right. Yes. Uh huh.
And
Mhm. Yep.
For face, figure, cause why not? Thinking the 10th Doctor.
I fucking
Okay.
hate Sean. I really hate fucking Sean.
Wait, is he stealing all yours?
I'm gonna have to think of new people.
Should have gone first.
He's gotten 2 of them. I don't think he's gonna get the 3rd one.
Yeah, David Tennant. Like, I feel like he could talk you into killing your mother, and you would thank him. So.
That's because he's British.
Yes.
Wait, so far all of his picks are British.
And hold on to your hats, because the last one's gonna be Bilbo Baggins.
No, he didn't. He didn't take the 3rd. He didn't do all 3. It wasn't a trifecta.
Okay, so why is Bilbo your wild card?
Because he literally is a wild card, especially like specifically from The Hobbit. He just stumbles over shit, and then shit gets done. He doesn't mean to, but it gets done. And
Did you know that he's a halfling from the streets?
Mm-hmm. And he's a thief.
And he's a thief. Did you know that? Did you know he's a thief? Oh.
There you go.
Okay, yeah, that's a very interesting squad. It's very British also, so I imagine it has something to do with a literary book for some reason.
It's possible that Sean has read a book or 2.
Maybe.
All right, so my mastermind is related to our little possible spoiler earlier that John made the joke about. Moraine de Mandrid, the Aes Sedai of the Blue Aja, from the Wheel of Time.
Sure.
Once that show gets out, you'll know who I'm talking about. But the
He's
reason
so
I'm saying
angry.
this because I'm excited about it. And you guys just keep poo-pooing on it.
No, it's not. It's not that we're doing that.
Anyway,
It's that the world is doing that, Zach. It's not me. It's that no one cares about that show. No, I'm just kidding. That's not true at all.
This is an incredibly badass woman who spends the majority of the books looking out for a bunch of like people who are like just out, like either in their very early 20s or just out of like 18ish, who wander out into the world for the first time and try not to get killed. Even
As
though,
one
for
does.
the most part, they are incredibly stupid.
We like stupid people on this channel.
Yes. She also, at one point, well, semi-spoilers for, like, I think book 6?
Oh, good.
Or 5.
So you don't have to watch the show, everybody. Zach's going to just tie it up in a bow for you.
She finds out she's going to die in a prophecy, and rather than trying to stop it, she decides to write letters to people to direct them after her death. And I'm just like, that is such a mastermind thing to do. You know, just saying, fuck it, I'm just gonna tell people what to do after I die, instead of trying to do anything about it. Because I have a plan.
Okay.
Alright, my face, it's a controversial one. Holden Caulfield from Catcher in the Rye.
Why? A guy's such a dick.
That's why. He will get up there and annoy someone to the point of physical violence, allowing the rest of the squad to do whatever they need to do.
I guess you have a point.
I guess I will allow that point on the floor.
Moraine will just be able to wrangle him because he is a neurotic teenager who is just obsessed with sex. I'm like, cool, she has to deal with that anyway in the books.
Wait, that's your wild card?
No, that was my face.
Oh, okay, got it.
And my wild card, Mario.
Like Mario is in Mario, like, hee hee, it's me, Mario. Like that Mario?
Oh, yeah. This is a man who can shrink, can grow, can fit into sewer pipes without dying, and is just generally able to do or eat anything. This is a man who you will never know what is his last trick.
Alright, I want the chat to back me up. The eat anything part of that statement. I remember him eating mushrooms.
Okay, you know what? Fine. You know, you're right. He mostly just eats mushrooms.
I don't remember him eating, like, going like, hey, look at this tree. Or look at this building. Let me eat it.
Alright, let me rephrase that. He must have an incredibly strong stomach because he's just eating mushrooms he finds on the ground or growing on enemies.
This just got weird. Because now I just envision Mario, like, licking enemies or eating them. And by the way, for the comments of the chat, what have I walked into? I don't know either, because he just went into this rant about how Mario's got, like, an ironclad stomach and is eating half the Mushroom Kingdom. Maybe he eats people? I don't know.
Yeah. You know, maybe that's why they wanted to be king. Maybe if he's king, they'll leave us alone.
Oh, damn. Okay. Well, chat's taking it to a whole nother level.
Oh, what's going on with chat?
He said, or they said, Mario can eat anything. Trust Peach on this one. Okay.
Yes,
I'm glad we do these icebreakers, guys. This is great. It's good.
That is
it's good.
my,
Good. It brings the show
my squad.
high level quality, highbrow.
A whiny teenager, a woman who can do magic but has to wrangle teenagers, and Mario, who just silently stares at people until he has to do something.
Okay. All right. So to recap for folks that might have joined us, Sean's dream team of a heist.
It's just British people.
It's just a bunch of British people. I apologize. No, that's fine. The comment was wonderful. It was amazing. You did not come here and bring down the quality of our minds.
Oh no, our quality is very low.
Zach did it all for you. You just participated in what was already here. You do not have to feel bad. Please do not have any regrets. And you know what? Peach is always yelling and screaming, so you may have a point there. So it's very true. She always talks in a very high-pitched voice and seems very, very happy and seems like she can fly. So,
you know what? She's also not in this castle.
Okay. So Sean's group of people for a heist are, again, to do this, Mastermind was Sherlock Holmes. Face was...
Oh, it's a very specific Sherlock Holmes.
David Tennant, the 10th Doctor. And then he rounded it out with wildcard Bilbo Baggins, because basically he uses his luck and stumbling abilities to get through life.
Yep.
All right. Now, for my wonderful trio of folks, I have to think up all new ones because Sean stole a few of them. So...
You had had the opportunity.
I'm going to say my mastermind is Nick Fury from S.H.I.E.L.D. Because that son of a bitch don't trust nobody. He would plan the best heist in the world with the most ironclad plan, procedure, and whatnot. And then for Face, I'm going to say... Face. Face is a hard one. That's the one I was having the most trouble with. Damn. I had potentially a few things that I could do for that, but Face. God. Good talker. Somebody could talk you at anything. Well, we could take anyone we want, right?
Anyone who is not part of a heist genre already.
Oh man, Face. Good talker. A good.
Just gonna keep repeating that over.
I know. I'm gonna keep saying it because damn it. Sure. You know what? Dracula. Fuck it. Because Dracula can entrance anyone and put everyone under his control. So that's what I'm going with. Dracula. My team's going to be random as fuck.
So far, we have Nick Fury.
That's right.
We have Dracula. Is there a specific version of Dracula?
You know what? I'll just keep it Marvel themed because I'll do my wild card Marvel theme too. I'll do the actual Marvel version of Dracula.
I'm liking this.
Yeah, I'll do the actual Marvel version of Dracula, which basically starts out as normal Dracula. It turns into like battle armor god Dracula, which is fine. And then last on the list for wild cards, I'm gonna go with Deadpool. Because Deadpool, I mean, you don't get wild and freakier than that guy. I mean, he could literally do anything. He has cartoon level logic and physics. He can look into other dimensions that others can't, that being the fourth wall, and literally other dimensions. He can even sometimes look through into other parts of his own comic book to find the future. He's literally he can lose his temper, get off the handle, step on a landmine and still survive. You name it, that man can do it. So that's my team. Nick Fury, Dracula, and Deadpool.
Learned something here, guys. I'm not sure what, but I feel like we learned something.
There we go. When I have to do this quickly and my shit gets taken already, this is what happens. So that being said, I think that Icebreaker was very cool. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're gonna roll right in. As a reminder, please check out my YouTube channel. You can see a lot of the other videos, the other talks we've had, other painting videos I've done, and things. So if you're not a subscriber already, please give it a check. Not only does it have, it has some of the older Twitch videos I did. Eventually, once I get a lot of things under my belt, it's just been as amazing as this quarantine and time of COVID has been. I don't know how I don't have time to do anything, but it seems to always be the case with me. So I'm trying to get us set up and ready to go, but there's a lot of shifting and moving happening. So moving on, we're going to start talking. So we'll take it to the tabletop gaming world first, then we'll talk about some TV and movies, and then we'll sort of talk about some games and some other stuff at the end. We're going to start off with doing the roundup of a couple of companies we talk about a lot, which is Games Workshop, Mantic Games. We're also going to talk a little bit about Asmodee, which is also related to Mantic Games, but also Asmodee is the supplier and distributor of a lot of other games, which we're going to kind of talk through there. And just check out what is new and on the horizon, because there's been a lot of announcements of stuff. So, GW, let's go over and filter out some of the new stuff that's going to be happening here. And I want to preface that one of the things we're going to talk about, I will hopefully be doing a actual review of after we do this stream. New releases. And I'm just going to check off pre-orders here so I have everything queued up. So, starting off with GW, we're going to go over new releases. And our first stop is reading, which I know nobody likes to do. No, I'm kidding. It's a lot of releases from their Black Library collection. So if you want to learn more about the lore of 40K and Age of Sigmar, there is some cool stuff here. I believe all the things that were released are from the Horace Heresy anthology. So it's all Horace Heresy stuff for 40K and a lot of the lore for it. And Zach and or Sean, please chime in at any point.
Yeah, Horace Heresy is super goddamn long. That's because they also have like 15 writers working on it at any time.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
They also, sometimes the writers don't really collaborate very well, so things become non-canonical very quickly.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard to figure out what you have to read. I will give them a point against some of it.
Some of it's just not good.
They don't really lay it out, and you could buy some of these books, because I've done it with the Age of Sigmar stuff. You could buy books where you think that you're actually getting a story, and it's really a collection of stories. So you're reading like 3 very different stories in one book.
Yeah, they are very fond of putting out short story collections.
Yeah.
But they don't really label them as such. They just label them as book whatever.
Yeah.
But the short stories will jump through time and canon.
Correct. So it makes it very hard to understand what you're reading.
Yeah, usually you have to go online to find out, oh, this is this sub-character's plot line.
Yeah.
Yep. Such as, Garrow? Nathaniel Garrow? With the Flight of the Eisenstein. That whole thing where he becomes Malcador's, like, champion, his knight, and he goes around, his knight errant, and basically goes around to found the Grey Knights.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a crazy tangled web of stuff. And then they're still doing the Marvel comics, so for folks that are intrigued, it's pretty good actually. But that new came out, White Dwarf, as always. So that kind of takes the literature part of things. But then other big things that happened, they basically took the Blood Bowl Season 2 box set, and now they're selling everything individually.
Like you knew they would.
Like many of us knew they would. But I will say the Blood Bowl Series 2 box set is actually worth it if you're trying to get into Blood Bowl for the first time. Because you get a lot of stuff in it.
Good.
And then for Age of Sigmar players, the big thing was they gave you more of the what's their name? The new elves that worship oxes.
Teclis's bitch boys.
Yeah, Teclis's army of choice. So they gave a lot more models to that range because they just came out with a new
Lumineth Bright Lords.
Thank you, Lumineth Bright Lords. I always stumble on their name. So they gave them a nice bunch of more basically single characters. They also gave them a couple more units to expand their range.
You mean they gave them more than 3 units to pick from?
Yeah, essentially. So you actually have like an army and some versatility to actually play with. And then the big thing they've been doing is the Broken Realms stuff. That
Bellacore does look nice though.
And that would be the model we're going to be reviewing after this.
I almost want to stay up now to watch it.
Because I did get my hands on one. And then Death Zone for Blood Bowl, that also came out, which we haven't talked about.
From what I understand, for the most part, a lot of it has to do with Sevens, which is a smaller version of Blood Bowl.
Yeah, it's like a mini version of Blood Bowl. It's supposed to be the minor leagues, essentially. So the character...
Yeah. There is some issues because of ogres and snotlings.
Oh, yeah.
Because snotlings retain the expendable rule.
Yeah, which is stupid. They shouldn't in Sevens.
Yeah, so you essentially get 600,000 extra gold.
Well, right.
To then buy the broken-ass mercenaries.
Mm-hmm.
Who are supposed to be the professional players.
Right. Yeah, so if you... For Blood Bowl, if just, again, for folks that don't know what Blood Bowl is literally fantasy characters playing football. So if you
Fucking awesome.
So if you think about that, we think of football as a pretty brutal sport. Well, now think about like it with actual monsters and creatures. So they like can actually kill each other. They can actually do terrible things to one another, and it's a much different game of football. So that is the idea, is that fantasy characters are all doing that. So Death Zone gave additional rule. Basically what that book does is it gives additional rules both to teams, so teams that already existed, to revamp them and change them so they will work with the new season 2 rule set, since they did change the basic rules of Blood Bowl in that box set. And then they also introduced this sevens idea, like we said, which is a minor league version. So think of it like any other professional sport. You would farm from the minors to the pros, and the teams you buy in a box are the pro version of that team. But with sevens, you can play through a minor game, which makes the board smaller, cuts the game time down, and also restricts you on units you can buy to make your squad. Problem is, as we talked about, certain teams like the Ogres and Snotling team, or even just the Snotling team, they have this what's called Expendables rule, and that Expendables rule is essentially that they do not count towards your team's value, which gives, because it's to offset the fact that they are terrible. So it gives you advantage in a match, so you can buy other things that are crazy or better to fight with them. And in a already toned down version of the game, it basically is now giving you an advantage, which probably just means that they're going to strip that rule, or they're going to probably have to come up with some other, like, maybe like mercenaries cost that team double the points or something. I don't know. They'll have to come up with something to level it, I'm sure, eventually, but
I can only hope.
Yeah.
Because, like, sevens is supposed to be the much quicker version because you only have 7 players and it's a short time length.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like we said, they just were doing separate now. Titanus.
Adeptus Titanicus.
Adeptus Titanicus. I don't care about this game at all.
Yeah, so basically, Sean, I don't know if you know, everything in Warhammer 40k is fake Latin.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like Pig Latin. It's like they made their own version of Pig Latin.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's Gothic. And it's just like, what? You just are using shitty Pig Latin.
Yeah, that's essentially what they did so they can make things their own IP, because Warhammer's all about that. We made it our own IP.
PW hates the fact that other people could potentially even use words that they quote unquote own.
Right. But yeah, so they redid the rules to this game. For all you folks that play it, congratulations. I don't know anyone that plays this game.
Yeah, it still used blast templates. That's all you know.
So I don't know much about it, but you guys got new rule books, so like, everybody that's there,
good for you.
Yeah, you're hoo-ha. Have fun. Yeah, just again, just more of the realm just a lot of that army. And then they started doing Broken Realms stuff, and the Broken Realms stuff is pretty cool. So they give books for each of the like major, essentially gods. And they have campaign missions inside of these books. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Zach. I think I'm saying this right. They give you both. There's a campaign mission in the book, and I believe there's also War Scroll battalions in the book that you can play that are like modified, changing from the battle tomes that the armies have.
There are a bunch of books that either were old, like the very start of the new edition of, because we're in 2nd edition essentially of Age of Sigmar. Some of the books have not aged well at all.
Right.
Some of the books just need a slight power boost. So they're like, here are a whole bunch of new rules for armies that suck.
Right. And their form of new rules is they give you battalions to play. Mm-hmm. With modified rules. But there is a campaign in the book, right? There's like a new campaign mission.
So they do have campaign missions that you can play.
which correspond to usually a giant model that they can sell for $200.
Yeah.
That's a key. That's a key. That's a key mechanic of the book. Because they're all gods, so you get these giant models. Which I, funny enough, actually own. Well, I own Techless, which is one of them. But I also now own the gentleman we're going to speak about in a minute. But they also did something that's interesting, which is they also released, which are essentially those battalions in boxes, which is Broken Realm boxes, which give you a collection of units. So that was also an interesting thing, and I have to say, I don't usually say that GW pricing is pretty good, but some of the boxes are actually decently priced.
Which is strange.
They're not terrible.
I don't want to trust it.
It's not terrible. Some of them are actually priced pretty well. Like, again, some of them are not. So, like, the Dragons, Ether Runners. I can't say anything tonight. I'm mispronouncing everything. Dragons, Ether Runners, which is the Karajan Overlord Dwarves. That box is $80. That's a ripoff. Because that's one character in a unit. That's not worth it. But the Broken Realms, Ghostain more. Is that the Flesh Eater Court? Is that the one that is? Yes. So the Flesh Eater Court one, that actually is worth it because you get some of the larger models and some other smaller units. And that's only $80. And you actually are getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. You're getting about 25 models in the box. Which is actually pretty worth it.
It's pretty decent.
Yeah, that's actually pretty worth it for GW standards. And then they had done some other ones which they are sold out of, but I actually got this box as well, which we'll take a look at another time. But I got the I'm not gonna be able to pronounce this. It's something I'm even gonna try. I remember when I read the box, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this thing is. Basically, what the models in the box are is these are models that used to be in fantasy. That's how old they are. It's the two big giant like magic machines, which is the what the hell are these models called? Celestial Huracanum. Yep.
Oh, the giant fucking planetarium bullshit.
Yeah, and the Luminarch of Hesh. Haish, thank you. So those models have not been redone. They have not sold those models in a very long time. So to get both of those in a box for $80 is actually a pretty good deal. That actually is decent by GW standards. So some of these Broken Realm boxes are worth it. Some of them are not. Like the Celestial Stampede, which is just 3 really big models of the what are they? The Lizard Men. I call them Lizard Men because that's what I remember them as.
They're Lizard Men. We all know
they're Lizard Men. But yeah, 3 of their bigger models, 2 of the Triceratops and one of the what is it? The dinosaur with the gem on its back that shoots.
Oh, the Ballista Duder?
Yeah, that guy. So you only get those 3 models, and that's $130. That's a ripoff.
Yeah, the Ballista Duder. That's what I'm going to call him from now on.
Yeah. So that's been the big thing. And then what's very cool is that they did do some previews of Vampire Court. So we actually will be getting Vampire Courts back into Age of Sigmar.
That hopefully won't suck.
That hopefully won't suck. But they started the first thing you could get, which was the Warhammer Underworld. What is it? It's Dire Chasm.
Yeah, the new box game.
Yeah, so the new box game of the card, essentially the card deck building game. But they did a pack of a squad of the vampire characters. So that's kind of our first look at some of the new Vampire Court models, which they look very cool. And sort of the start of that army so they can get a tome, which is pretty cool.
They already technically do underneath like the Nagash book.
Right, but this is going to be a dedicated. Yeah, this is going to be a dedicated tome, and they did some previews of the actual models themselves. So
one of the things I know some people were looking forward to is that maybe it also means that we get some new Blood Bowl vampires.
It's possible we could get a vampire Blood Bowl team, maybe.
With rules that don't make them unplayable.
Oh yeah. No, it'd be interesting to see how they do that, because currently they have that stupid thing, which is blood. Basically, the vampires all have a rule, not the star players, but most of the normal vampires have the rule that they have to fight their blood or hunger, which literally could shut your whole team down.
They had a similar rule back in the day, but they made the rule.
Yeah.
But they took away that rule, which was kind of reasonable. Like, you can work around it, and it would only affect you at the end of your action, where you had to maybe feed off a guy if you rolled a 1.
Right.
But now your opponent can take control of your character.
Yes, that's the part that's bad.
Before you move, and the only characters who are actually any good are the vampires, who are all horribly overcosted.
Right.
And then they nerfed their hypnotic eye skill.
Correct.
And you're just like, what the hell, guys?
Right. Which in Blood Bowl was the ability for you to control another player to basically get him out of your way, so you can get him essentially out of your own tackle zone.
Yeah, you would just, well, yeah, it would shut down the other person's tackle zone so you can walk by them.
Yeah. But
because you have special eyes.
Yeah. But moving on to the bigger model that was a big release, which is Bellacore, the Dark Master. This model is fucking massive. It's huge. I pulled up the picture. That little bat thing is a normal GW model on a probably.
Can you post a picture on the Discord so Sean can see?
Yeah, hold on, I'm doing it now.
Because Sean, this is a cool model.
No, it is cool.
I will say it is a cool model. It's kind of a ripoff of the Creature Caster model. I believe Lord of Slaughter.
Yes, it is. I know which model you're talking about. Hopefully that pulls it up. Like, you can go to the link and see it, but
that's a big bat guy.
He's a demon.
If you go to the second picture,
he's a demon.
You'll see little bat and then big bat.
Yeah, so that little bat is the size of a normal GW unit. That is how big this monstrosity of hell is. Now, because he's a demon, the good news is, and this is why I love playing demons, you can use him in both games. So you can use him in 40k, and you can use him in Age of Sigmar.
The only issue is that he doesn't have new rules for 40k.
Correct.
And his current rules aren't that good.
Right. So he's definitely a Age of Sigmar, more of an Age of Sigmar powerhouse, because he obviously, we talked about Broken Realms, how he has a book and there are new rules for him. So he gets the benefit of the new rules treatment. But if you take a look at the model, I mean, the detail is crazy. He has dead bodies all along his base. Like, people he's destroyed. He's freaking massive. So, as I said, when we wrap up our show, after this, I'm going to take a small commercial break, and then I'm going to get to building this sucker. So we'll do this building, and then we'll get to some Curse City painting, which I apologize, guys, that I didn't do a full review of the game. I'm going to do a partial unboxing of that, too, at some point. The whole release schedule of that thing got all screwed up. So I had no clue what I could actually do a review. And then a bunch of life happened. So I'll get there. I painted some of the models. We already started looking at them, but I'll get more painted. And then Zach and Sean, at some point, we're gonna take that on. We're gonna go through an adventure. We're gonna make our way out of that city and get back to our airship.
All right.
And not get fucked up by vampires.
I don't know. I kind of want to get fucked up by vampires.
Sean,
you want to get fucked up by vampires?
I don't know if you want to do that.
With what'll happen.
Well,
The way
yeah,
I roll.
you know, it's there. You don't lie. The way he rolls, the vampires come. They find him. But yeah, the detail of this bottle is crazy. It's $140. Which I still think is too expensive.
It's so expensive.
It is too expensive. I guess
I'd be much more happy if it was near 80. If it was 80,
I would have even been okay if it was 100.
it would be a little pushing it at 100, but it's still quality.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I'll give it is that you could use it in both games. I mean, regardless of the rules being updated, which the rules will get updated. It would be better if it was a little cheaper. But like that, I will say that's its saving grace, is that it is a little bit more of a cost-effective model in the sense that you can use it in 2 games. But we will do a full review of it, but it's gorgeous. It's awesome. In addition to that, I also picked up, not as, it's kind of a more lackluster comparison, but Gardas Steel Soul from Stormcast Eternal. So I did pick up that special character as well, because I do have a Stormcast Eternals army, so I wanted to pick him up. He's kind of cool, though, because there's a versatile with him. You could either build him with helmet on or without helmet, so that's a cool feature that they added to him. And I also like that they gave him an articulated base. So they gave him a detailed base rather than just the standard GW base. Which is kind of nice. I wish they would do that with more models. It seems like that's more of a trend now for special characters. I don't know what you think about that, Zach, but...
No, I find it pretty cool. It's nice having the fact... Well, I'm cool with them trying something new.
Yeah.
I just don't like how there's also this trend towards more monopose.
Well, his pose is kind of cool because he's actually like striking the ground.
Oh yeah, no, he has a cool fucking Thor pose.
Yeah, he's got like the big like I'm coming in for the landing, like let's do it and like let's mess you up. And I'm curious when I open the model. I'm curious because I see that they did that lightning effect on the paint job. I'm hoping that that's an actual like groove detail and not something you have to freehand, but that's gonna be interesting. I'm intrigued to find out more about that. Yeah, so we covered I think GW pretty well. That's everything from their literature books. We covered everything from the span of the tabletop games. Tabletop meaning box games and their major, two. This was a little bit more of an Age of Sigmar heavy release because they already did a bunch of 40K stuff prior to this.
I will say that there is one big thing going on with 40K.
Oh, yes. You wanted to talk about that.
Yeah. So,
I don't have a picture for
the Drukhari, or if you play the game for any amount of time, Dark Eldar, or if you're an asshole, the Deldar.
The Deldar.
I have been told to get out of a room once for saying that. And it was completely fair, and I left.
It was completely fair, and I left.
Yep. Completely fair for me to be asked to leave the room after saying that. But anyway, they had a new book that just dropped.
They did.
For 9th edition. And it has gone balls to the wall crazy.
Balls to the wall crazy. You heard it here first.
So what they're trying to do is essentially there's 3 sub-factions within the army as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
There are the cabals, which are basically criminal gangs that run society. There are the witch cults, which are basically gladiator crazy people who hop themselves up on drugs to go murder.
Yep.
And then there are the homunculus covens, which are basically mad scientists who you never want to meet.
Mm.
And each of those have been given very flavorful and strong focuses. However, it turns out it's really goddamn easy to break the game when you combine them.
Yes. That's what I've heard.
In the last weekend, this book has been out for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. In the last weekend, in the 7 US GT events that were tracked by Best Coast pairings,
Mm-hmm.
Dark Eldar players won 4 of them. They placed top 8 in all of them, sometimes multiple times.
Right.
And very few were in the bottom third.
Yeah, it's kind of suspect. That's very suspect.
Yeah, one of the big things is that transports,
Mm-hmm.
which, are transports, they're supposed to just carry troops around.
Well, they can abuse them.
Yes, one of the problems is that after 8th edition, where you would have multiple flying Tyranid monsters,
Mm-hmm.
who were all psychics and all powerful, and you were able to have up to 7 of them on the table at one time.
Right.
And those were that was a glorious 2 weeks. GW said, "Fuck that shit. There's a thing called a rule of 3 now. You can't have more than 3 of the same model, except for transports."
Right.
This isn't really abusable except by this one army, because all of their units are fairly undercosted, fairly powerful, and their transports have invulnerable saves. They have super long, very high damaging weapons.
Right.
You can't hurt the guys inside of them, who also have high damage weapons inside that they can fire out of them with no penalties.
And again, that's because of the army. These are all benefits of the army. Not other armies in 40K can't do the things that they can't do all the things that he's talking about for people that are
They're supposed to be a glass cannon army, but the problem is there's so much stuff that's undercosted.
Right.
That they essentially get an extra 200 points to play with, but those extra 200 points equal 5 different units.
Right.
So you have multiple waves of stuff coming in a game where we're playing Rocket Tag.
Right.
And also the new 9th edition has kind of done away with their original mission formatting. And the way you play now is you have the primaries, which are all the same, which is kill some stuff, hold objectives. Did you do more than your opponent? Yes or no?
Right.
And then every army has a base set. Here are some missions you can choose from.
Right.
That you can also score from. And then when your book comes out, you get individualized missions for your army. Oh, your army wants to do something cool.
Right.
Because this is the design text. Here you go.
Yep.
It turns out their missions are incredibly easy to do when you have 30 plus units who all can move really goddamn fast.
Right.
You don't care if any of them die whatsoever. And they're all insanely deadly and can advance and charge. They all have invuln saves now.
Yep. No, it's very abusive what they've done with the book, and
you can tell where the design team was we just want these individual factions to be able to function.
Right.
But they've just screwed up badly in the fact that these things should never interact in any way.
Right.
Dark Technomancers for the Homunculus Covens should not have been ported over in any way from 8th edition. Jesus Christ, no.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true.
And especially to work on liquefier guns,
Yes.
which
I've heard all
are
this
guns
stuff.
that they're basically a flamer that turns you into liquid.
Correct.
But you can fire them from inside your transports, which have high damage weapons, and you have 20 of them because you're.
And if I'm not mistaken, isn't the ruling something like it's like you have like their insta kill weapons on a certain roll, right?
No, I know they're not insta kill, but they could do like mortal wounds.
I was gonna say or I knew it was either mortal wounds or like an insta kill on that because it's what is it, mortal wounds on 6s?
Yeah, it's mortal wounds on 6s, but also Dark Technomancers allow you to re-roll wounds.
Right, so you could re-roll any failed wound.
No, not any failed, just re-roll wounds.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so you're just fishing for 6s.
Right, right. You can farm out your dice depending on how many first 6s you get. Yeah, that's really bad.
Yeah, so the weekend before they took on a bunch of tournaments also, and again did incredibly well.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the problems is that based on various numbers people pulled together, it's about 4% of the population of the game of competitive players that use this army.
Sure.
And so there's no real way to plan for it, because there is a good possibility you're never going to play them in a tournament, and you need to be able to take on the other top armies.
Right.
But then if you hit this army, then you just lose. Because you can't plan for this army and other armies.
Well, sure. I mean, you always have to lose to something, so you have to figure out to work with what you got. I mean, you can't side. I mean, you could obviously bring additional and like tweak up your list depending on where you're going, but you can't prepare for everything. Yeah, so definitely something in the forefront of the game and something that's taken on the meta. I do want to just spotlight one other Warhammer community thing, which is the latest Broken Realms character that they released, which is the meet the musicians who bring life to the mortal realms. So this is for the Sylvaneth, which is essentially I keep saying they're gods. I mean, they essentially are, but
oh yeah, the weird dude with the bug popping off the top of his head.
Yeah, so this is has been hard at work.
Yeah, so the not god of the woods.
The Alariel? Alariel, thank you. Alariel.
I'm gonna one day we're just gonna sit down. I'm gonna get you drunk, and we're gonna fucking make you say Warhammer things.
I can't say them when I'm sober.
I know, that's why it's gonna be fun. And we're gonna get Sean to say other like Warhammer things also.
It's really bad. Some of them I can't say these fucking words because they're just like why are these things all together? Score, yeah. So this is basically the deity that brings life. Like just generates life.
She's a wood elf goddess thing.
Yeah.
She's also an asshole.
Sure.
But that's not saying much in any Warhammer medium.
She's a bitch. That's what we're saying.
She did also convince Bretonia that she was like their god.
Well, yeah, as one would.
Was fucking awesome.
Now, another cool thing that I said I was going to do one, but I'm going to do two, and then we're going to move on to a different company. But the other thing they did was, who needs a living body anymore? Which was for, I'm calling them Lizardmen again. But this is a redo of a model because this isn't him. This is their leader, right?
Lord Croak?
No, it's not Lord Croak. Yes, it is. It's
yeah, they made a new Lord Croak model,
which I think is pretty cool. I'm not gonna like. I'm not gonna like when it costs $200, but when it costs $120, but he looks pretty badass now. He looks a lot more badass than he did in Fantasy.
No, he is. Can you put the fat toad on the Discord for Sean to see? Because I know Sean, you're just kind of staring at everything.
Sorry. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
He can, he has a working computer and internet. He could go to GW's website and look at these things.
Yeah, but it's kind of fun making you do it.
You can use the internet, Sean. I believe in you.
No. No. Scroll down to the fat toad.
In like the weird circular
Yeah.
chair thing.
Yeah, so
That's gonna be a bitch to put up.
Oh, it's gonna be a pain in the ass to build because if I'm not mistaken, some of those are tilted.
Yep, they're tilted at different angles. Also, the major thing holding it to the base seems to be that one tendril in the middle.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna redesign this. I might redo this model. I don't know what I'll do yet, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's a dead space toad.
Yeah, so
he shot himself into space on a pyramid to dream.
Yeah. So essentially, for folks that don't, it's kind of I hate that that's actually true. Meaning it's true for the new way that they wrote the lore for these fucking idiots. It's
from the new lore. That's from fucking End
Times.
It
is from End Times, but they made it worse with the newer lore. But the idea is that essentially, if you guys don't know this army, so they used to be called the Lizard Men in actual fantasy, because in fantasy you had an army.
Mm-hmm.
In Age of Sigmar, you kind of have an army. The idea is that this freaking toad is making all the units happen. So they are all essentially illusions. He's using magic powerful enough to create.
He's dreaming. And these are the things that come out of his head space.
So your army is constructs, essentially, of him remembering his people, because he's literally like one of the only...
The rest of them got shot into space, and some of them haven't been found yet.
Yeah.
Because the moon rained down on them.
So your man is just thinking up people to fight on the battlefield so that he doesn't die. That's essentially it. Now, that being said, for this army, if you have this man on your army, at least the old version of him, I don't know with Broken Realms if they're like how they're going to tweak his rules, but the old version of him was just for goddamn ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Because he could hit you from like anywhere on the board. He could just he had a rule where he could just dispel your spells.
Yeah,
he could just
so in Age of Sigmar, spells have ranges. Because, you have to usually be able to see a thing in order to hit it.
He doesn't.
His range for spells and for dispelling just says the entire board.
Right. Because
also he
that's
has
fair.
Some 5 casts per turn or some bullshit.
Yeah,
he basically all get pluses to their abilities to cast or to unbind.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. Because that's
really cool though.
Because that's fair. It's fair to say the whole board. That's real fair.
It's just the board.
The whole board. I love how that people. These are the same people that are going to tell me that's fair. They're like, "Oh, you brought Nagesh. You're a cheap fucking player." You know what? That's cheap.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Nagash is a cheap fucking asshole.
He is, but he's like half your army. He's not half your army.
Yeah, this guy is like maybe a quarter.
It's not half your army. You still get a bunch of stuff, and then they have all that stupid dinosaur with the crystal on top. All of them can shoot you from ridiculous amounts of range. So don't tell me it's unfair out there in TV land. It's not. And by the way, don't you think I'm coming for you magic people, because I bought a box of that new set and they reprinted Fireball. Not Fireball. They reprinted Lightning Bolts. And everyone in the world told me Lightning Bolts were way too powerful. We could never have this card again. Well, fuck you. I got it again. It's in that box.
Yeah.
So everybody told me that was way too powerful. You full of crap. I did get a $20 card in my box.
That's nice.
I got the god foiled. The dragon thing.
You gotta be a lot more specific. There's a lot of fucking dragons.
There's a lot of dragons in the set. I forgot. That's not actually specific for that. I'll talk about it later. Anyway. Alright. Okay. So GW, I think we covered it very well. But there is a lot of cool stuff. So I am really digging the Broken Realms. They're giving you some really cool models. I like that they're big models. If, for any reason, I actually want to use them in campaign play a lot. So I'd rather make custom campaigns with them, which I think could be a lot of fun. And it's a little bit more of a cool model on the shelf, because you could always buy the units to round out an army. These are nice, like, special characters to have. All right, now that we talked about all that, we're going to talk about Mantic Games, another favorite, another company we love.
The company doesn't hurt us.
Well, every company can have their faults, but they don't have as many of them.
It doesn't hurt us.
I mean, they got to figure out how to ship stuff, but besides that, we'll get to that next. But they are based in England, just like GW is, but they're having a little tougher time keeping stuff coming out in a more regular fashion. So I love them, but
they are also a much smaller company.
Yes, they are a much smaller company in comparison. So like they get a pass too. But so some of the new stuff coming out for them. So I wanted to talk about a couple things. So the first thing on the list is the Ratkin are here. So they had, of course, we've talked about these models before, but they actually came out now. So the mutant rat thing, that's out. The crazy like four-armed demon rat is out. So the Rat King got all of their units out. I'm gonna go to Kingdom War really quick.
Yes.
Yeah, so they have their new stuff that popped out. They don't just have like a news section. They usually have it on the bottom, but it's like not. I guess latest products that works. Yeah, they have like,
they're
but
all so sexy.
What's that? Oh, the Ratkins?
Yeah,
the Ratkins are cool. They have a lot of like war machines and like shredders and war engines and all kinds of cool stuff. Which is very cool. Armada, their ship-based game. They've released a couple of new units for that as well, which was very cool. And then we were talking a little bit about this model, which was the Trident Realm of... is it Nordica? I didn't say that right.
I don't know. No one actually uses the full thing. It's just Trident Realms.
Okay, Trident Realm. I think it's Neritica or Neurotica.
Yeah, Neritica.
Neritica. Okay, I did say it right. Neritica. Trident Realm of Neritica. Nucker, right? It's pronounced Nucker.
Nucker.
So Nucker, yeah. We were talking about this model. Pretty cool model. Again, very cost effective. It's only a $20 model. I don't know what it stands. Does they tell you? It's a 50mm base.
It is a monster, so it's actually a fairly big one. It's an incredibly good unit that's fairly costed, maybe slightly undercosted.
Mm-hmm.
And it zips and dodges. It gets places, it kills things. Most people, if they're going to bring one, they bring three.
All right, there you go. Now, we were talking...
It's a cool model.
It is a cool model. We were talking about what army it can go in, which obviously the name implies the one it can go in. But one of the questions I had was, could it go into the Forces of Nature army? Because I know that they can use, I believe, their baseline, the realm of Neritica. I think they can use their baseline units, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So I didn't know if they could use their monster, but...
So they can't use the Nucker, however, that would be a very easy, like, say, this is a Hydra, and
right.
You could maybe stick a head or two on there.
Yeah, you could do a convert on it if you wanted to.
Or you can just be like, the heads haven't grown yet.
Well, sure. You could do that too.
If you don't want to put that much work in it, but you still want a cool-ass model.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But again, it's that cost-effective thing, which is really nice. And then again...
It's a $20 model.
Yeah, and then again, if you're doing... Because recently, I haven't done it with Zach or Sean yet, but I've been actually experimenting with doing full mini RPG adventures. Now I have terrain and stuff. I actually have modular terrain that I can build on the fly to do D&D stuff. These would be good models even for those monsters if you want to have a monster encounter or something. So it just shows, again, the versatility of the models, which is really nice. Also, what I wanted to talk about is on the latest news front, Hellboy, the board game, they're actually going to be doing a Kickstarter, and they did a little preview of some of the things that they're going to be doing on here. But they're going to be kickstarting the next big expansion to the game. Now, we actually played this game, all of us, and I think we all gave it a thumbs up.
It was fun.
It was fun. It was good.
Sean, do you agree with it?
Sorry, what game I spaced out there for a second?
Hellboy.
Oh yeah, Hellboy.
It's good. It's good, Sean. I'm glad we're keeping Sean engaged.
Yep.
It's good. It's like, and I was like, I put this in here because I'm like, Sean can talk about it because he went through it, he lived through it. But so it looks like they're going to be jumping into what are we getting here? So it looks like we got some mutants are coming. So we got some mutant people.
I saw in a picture that there may be something to do with
Trickets.
Possibly King Arthur.
Yes, that's one of the expansions. Because eventually, at one point in the Hellboy comic, he actually does find the sword of King Arthur.
Oh, he's actually a descendant of King Arthur.
Yeah, and he finds out he is a descendant of King Arthur.
I'm pretty sure he's actually like the true King of England.
Yeah, so because of, as one would be, if you're from, you look like a demon. Of course, you're the King of England. But the board games, it's called Hellboy. The board game Super Agent. Let's see, Edwin Marty over in the next few days. Edwin will be delving into the new expansion. Okay. So, spoiler alert. Okay, so we're not going to go too far into it, but basically, it's going to take us into more areas of the Hellboy universe with more monsters, more playable characters, I believe, and just newer scenario play. So, I'm looking forward to that, but they're going to be kickstarting it again, and it's kind of an odd thing, but the Hellboy board game is actually being sold through another distributor now, but they're going to kickstart it, and then I guess that's going to go. I know for myself, I had so much fun with the base game. I definitely will be supporting the Kickstarter, so I urge you all to support it as well if you're watching this after the fact of us being live. If you want like a really cool comic book like cooperative board game, which once you get the rules down is actually very quick. Like it does go by fast, or you can make it go by fast. And it's not too bad to play. You will like it. And then apparently, I think they're also doing a dice game for Hellboy.
Yes.
Which I am not going to necessarily partake in because I'm not a fan of those types of games, but
kind of like a meh.
But yeah. And what the hell is that? That's a big giant boss. Warvera. Ooh. Oh, okay. I know who that is. Oh, this is some crazy crap. That's awesome. So there'll be new bosses. There's going to be new stuff. So it's just a lot of new, cool stuff coming to Hellboy as well. So that's a big announcement for them as well. Besides that, I don't think they have too much really going on right now. It's been a little bit of lull, but again, the Ratkin were a big release, so that's why they're focusing on that right now.
They also are going to be releasing salamanders as a whole model range.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was some news, I think, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, it's going to be cool. Also, I know salamanders will be getting a Armada like release because they are a seafaring nation. Because they also have Corsairs, which are literally pirate lizard people.
There you go. Pirate lizard people.
Yeah. I will bring up Firebrand, who is the leader of the pirate lizards.
Here, can I get into it's Kings of War, right? It's part of.
Yes. Hold on. I'll just Discord open. Here's Firebrand. She is a badass. You can just take her by herself. She's worth all her
Fine.
points.
I'm gonna do it right now. I got it.
Okay.
I'm
She has
making
a
it
little
happen.
hat.
I'm making it happen. I got the technology.
She got a little hat.
Because I can use the internet, Sean. No, okay.
I can too.
Apparently, Zach says you can't. That's some weird shit right there. But cool. Zach likes
I'm
it.
not sure what I'm looking at.
What happened?
I'm not sure what I'm looking at here.
Yeah,
Good person.
it's got some stuff going on.
It's a what person?
It's a pirate lizard person.
Pirate lizard. Okay.
Just nod your head. Say yes. Just say yes. No, it does look like a pirate lizard person. I'm just being funny. That's
No, before I knew what the hell the head was supposed to be, I thought like the weird little yellow thing was like hair or some shit. I didn't know what was going on.
so basically, Sean thought he was in a nightmare because he probably fell asleep. Let's just call it like it is. Sean questioned life at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I will say one thing about Mantic's site, which I want to just plead them with something. Please fix the links on your site. Because
could be better.
What?
They could be better.
Because I just clicked in 2 places and it told me that this model was for pre-order, and then I clicked in another place and it's like available on back order. So which one is it? Did it come out? Or did you sell so many of them that you can't get anymore? What is it? No, and by the way, that is the Ratkin Mutant Rat Fiend, which I am 100% buying because I'm going to use it for a Skaven army and GW as well. So.
Is that the one that has the?
It's got like.
The demon prince of. The demon.
No, I'm gonna buy that model too, but this model's crazy. No, this is the rat. This is the thing that's got like all the like electrodes in it. It's got like a mouth for a stomach, and it's got some sort of iron rod in one of its arms. Basically, I know what they did. They made the Rat Abomination from GW. They made their version of it, but
yeah, but it's cooler.
No, it's cooler. It's much better. but because the Rat Abomination one it doesn't look that good. It looks derpy. Theirs looks like actually like it's gonna rip your head off, probably kill you.
Yeah, that's nightmare fuel.
Yeah, that thing's one hella kind of not all right. That's some shit.
But it's really fucking cool.
It really is cool. I want that model a lot. It's a really, really cool model. So yeah, Mantic, I thank you always for hooking me up.
This is new, and it looks really cool.
What?
It's the Cavern Dweller for the
what is he getting?
Northern Alliance.
He just like screamed. All right, Northern Alliance. I got you. Cavern Dweller. Limited 10th anniversary King of War diorama. No, you don't want that. Northern Alliance Warband booster. Ice thrower. Where's the Cavern?
It's on page 2 of it.
Oh, okay. Well. Oh, that's kind of cool.
Right?
It kind of looks like an upside down. Looks like a Demogorgon from Stranger Things with fur. But I mean, it's cool.
Yeah, I got Stranger Things vibes from it too.
Yeah, it looks a lot like that. Like I could tell that was probably an inspiration for the sculpt. But yeah, it's cool.
It's also $20.
Oh yeah. Well, I should point out that the Ratkin, the model we looked at, was only 50, and that was on a big base. So that's gonna be like that's probably gonna be half the size of the giant. Yeah,
Pretty much.
I do like the Northern Alliance guys, which I do have a pretty sizable army. So when we do actually do battle reports of this, we'll probably have the Northern Alliance go up against forces of nature, or if I do get my Goblin army by then, I might just do goblins against forces of nature, which will be pretty cool. I'd prefer to do goblins against forces of nature, but and then I will also get Ratkins because I'm definitely gonna buy that goblin Ratkins box, and then probably fill some of my GW models into some of the goblin units to make some stuff happen. Anyway, so Mantic, we covered that. Nice. I'm going to throw us over to Asmodee Games. We're really going to be talking about Atomic Mass Games, because I'm going to talk about a little bit of Marvel Crisis Protocol. I'm going to just jump over to their website real quick. So for folks that don't know who Atomic Mass Games are, they make two very awesome games. And those games are Star Wars Legion, and they make Marvel. For folks that did not know that. I don't know if you guys knew that as well.
I know everything.
Okay. That's very modest of you. But yeah, they've recently talked about a lot of new models. So Cable, Domino, Sin, they are making, and they do have a Deadpool model. Viper, Luke Cage, Bob, Agent of Hydra, which comes with Deadpool, of course. Mr. Sinister, who comes by himself. Iron Fist. You got Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. They have a lot of models coming out. Oops, went too far. And for folks that don't know, Asmodee Games is the distributor you can get all this lovely stuff from. Although, I do want to give a shout out. So, Mantic Games, I appreciate the videos that you helped make and the product you've supplied us with. So, I thank you for that. But I also want to talk about another sponsor we have, which is actually down at the bottom, which is Undiscovered Realms. Yeah, I have a real one. This is kind of fun, isn't it?
Oh, so you mean a sponsor? Oh, actually, no. Mantic Games does kind of sponsor you.
Well, yeah, but we're gonna try to work a little bit harder to do a little bit better by them, because that's what because we have to start doing more content. We did the Hellboy content, but I got to do some more stuff. So, but yes, they do kind of they do help, and they have given me some product to review, and we're gonna review more of it as we go. But the idea is that Undiscovered Realms is actually going to start carrying Marvel Crisis Protocol, along with other tabletop games, which I will not announce the rest. But Marvel Crisis Protocol, definitely, they just did a big order. They got a ton of it in. So it is going to be pretty cool. And I wanted to just spotlight some of the new things that are coming out, which is a new battle pack of Spider-Man and Black Widow, the Cable and Domino that I aforementioned. What is pretty cool is the again, the Deadpool set comes with Bob, Agent of Hydra. Comes with Deadpool, and apparently it also comes with a chimichanga truck, as one needs. And again,
How else do you get around?
Yeah, it says Deadpool and Bob, Agent of Hydra, but it also shows the chimichanga truck, so you get some terrain with that, which is pretty cool. And again, what I love about Marvel Crisis Protocol is, like we've talked about with Mantic Games as well, the ability of their models being so cost effective. Because again, for a small character like Kraven the Hunter and a large format character like the Lizard, you're only paying like $45 for the models, which is pretty good. And even Bob the Hydra is only $54. They give you a terrain piece and 2 models in it. So they're really keeping their model costs to probably around $20 to $24 per model. And what's cool about this game is all the models are heavily detailed, because literally every model, of course, is a iconic character. So it's not like larger format war games where you have a bunch of grunt or baseline units. Every character here is a main character. So, and they're also they're 40 millimeter scale, so they're slightly bigger than GW models. What do you guys think? You have any thoughts on Marvel Crisis Protocol?
It's cool.
Yeah. Sean, you've played it.
Yeah. Pandemics.
This has been a little harder to play, which I mean, we could theoretically play it virtually, but maybe if we all get to the point of vaccination, and yes, I'm going to talk slightly about vaccinations on here. It's a really good idea. go get vaccinated. That's it.
No, please say no more.
Like I don't have anything else to say about it other than it's a really fucking good idea. If we're all vaccinated, then us all sitting in a room together will be an awesome thing.
And will not result in us dying.
Correct. So when that all happens, then we can maybe reassess in-person stuff. Because of course,
actually doing shit.
Yeah, we could probably get back to actually playing real games, which will drastically uptick our content, because then we can set up the cameras correctly, and I can actually have maybe Sean's help to set up stuff, which would be good. And we could like map things out a little bit better. And obviously something like Marvel Crisis Protocol, we could play a little bit better, or like Blood Bowl or whatever that might be. Because although it's fun for me to move all the pieces around, it's a pain in the ass. Unfortunately, stuff like Marvel Crisis Protocol, there are some aspects of it where, actually, no, that's not true. Everything in Marvel Crisis Protocol, you're allowed to know what the opponent has. So there's no like secret things. But
it's a tactical game that requires you to see things.
Yeah, so like I could rig it and make it happen, and it definitely could happen. And I've done it. I've done it with the D&D stuff. I've done some experimentation with it. And I know what equipment I need to buy to actually make that all work, but it just would be a lot easier if we could just be in the same room. Yeah, so, and pretty cool, they actually have apartment terrain, so I didn't want to go too far into it, but they're actually releasing, like, bigger terrain pieces, which I thought was pretty cool. But similar to Mantic, there's a lot of really cool places on Etsy you can get printable stuff from.
Yeah, STLs are fun.
Yeah, they're really, really cool. So, but you can get, there's like a lot of people that are just printing stuff on there too. So you can get some really cool stuff. Like I got an actual Sanctum Sanctorum. I actually got apartment buildings. Like I got some really cool stuff, and it was pretty cost effective. Because in this game, all the terrain is destructible. You could just like pick shit up and throw it at people, which is awesome. So this is some of the new offerings from them. I don't know when they're going to be pre-ordering this, but now that I know one of the local store in my area has this stuff, and again, Undiscovered Realms, check them out. They do online orders. They ship anywhere. They do Funkos. They do collectible card games. They do tabletop stuff. But now
their shit.
Yes, support them. Make them feel good. But yeah, the idea is that now I have a local connection to get this. This will be a much easier time for me to be able to focus and do some reviews on this stuff. And what's interesting about Top Best Games is they actually do have like organized play stuff, but a lot of it got put on hold because of the pandemic. But they actually do have wait, they have a banned and restricted list already? No.
Believe it.
The following components, they actually have a restricted list. It's the team cards. I did not know that. Interesting. So drop off and hired muscle. You cannot use those cards. They are banned.
I believe it.
That's crazy. And you could only include 2 components from the restricted list. Oh, that makes sense. I get how they're doing it. So you can't play with like... Oh, okay. So they listed out the cards, and you can only play with 2 of the cards from that list. You can't play with like all 4 of them being from that list. Okay. It's an interesting way to do it. But yeah, they have hobby nights. Hobby nights, they have like a painting local event. So they actually have like hobby nights, like actual painting nights, which is cool. I've never actually seen a company like do that, where they like they lay out like a painting event for their hobby. That was kind of cool. And then they have a crisis event, which is like their organized play event, where you do more of like a starter mission to get knowing the game. Which actually Sean and I did that. That's kind of what you did with me.
All I remember is your Hulk like just killed my Spider-Man.
That's right, because your Spider-Man mouthed off to me, and my Hulk took care of his ass. You think you got quips? Let's see those quips when you're dead.
It would be fun to see Hulk use the chimichanga truck and just throw it at people.
It would be awesome. But to be fair, Sean did take a garbage can and throw it at me.
Yeah, I might have started.
As Spider-Man. So he did hit me first, and then Hulk just felt that the response or the retaliatory action was to take a dumpster and leap in front of Spider-Man and then punch him so hard that he died.
Yeah, I immediately regretted the question.
It was so...
To be fair, it's not who punches who first. It is who finishes the fight.
No, it's ridiculous. The Hulk, so not to go too far into the game, but the Hulk's mechanics, so he doesn't have, every character has two sides to their card. So basically you get hit so hard, you faint, and then you wake up and you're like, I don't feel so good, but I'm going to still fight you. And you get more health. The Hulk doesn't have that. He just has 20 hit points. And you just keep hitting him. And then for every 3 damage he has on his card, he just gets more damage. He gets more damage dice to roll.
Yeah, the angrier he gets, the more damage he does.
So if you then pick up terrain on top of that, if you fling terrain, meaning fling by, you hit them by swinging it at them, the terrain adds more damage to your dice pool. So I believe when I hit Sean's Spider-Man, I think I was rolling like 10 dice of damage.
Probably.
And I think Spider-Man only has like 6. And his like defense roll against me was like 3. He could only roll 3 dice to like try not to die. So it was pretty much guaranteed I was knocking him out. It's pretty ridiculous. The Hulk is the ultimate point him in a direction and just take down as many people as you can before they kill him. And then have your other support characters, get you the rest of the way. So I just wanted to review a little bit of their stuff. All right, so now jumping in. Speaking of Marvel, we're gonna do a roundtable talk about the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I should mention spoilers. We're gonna talk about.
It's been like a week since the show, and everybody knows. Ooh.
Not necessarily.
It's been more than a week.
Well, the last episode's been a week, hasn't it?
Oh, has it been a week?
Yeah, I think only not like a week yesterday.
All right. Well, we're gonna spoil a lot of the. We're gonna spoil the whole show. So, if we're gonna try to keep this segment to like 15-20 minutes. Because we have a few more things to talk about, and we're gonna get through it. But 15-20 minutes. So if you want to pop out and then pop back in, I understand. If you're listening to this after the fact, you might want to skip. You might want to either fast forward through. The good news is you'll see I will change the banner of what we're talking about, so you'll know when it's over if you're scrolling through the video. So I want to just start off with quick, Sean. What was your overall reaction to the show? What did you think?
Overall, I liked it. I actually liked it more than WandaVision.
Interesting.
Personally.
Okay.
But I tend to like the more zeroed in character looks and actually like analyzing specific characters rather than just like let's have a fun walk through sitcom history.
Gotcha. Okay. What were there any other aspects of the show that you liked? Or like specific aspects? You said you overall liked it. What were some of your favorite, or what was your tie-in?
Well, it was just nice seeing, the interaction between Sam and Bucky and actually fleshing out those characters more. And
Right.
I feel like they were always second fiddle, especially Sam
Right.
in the movies. So, going more into his character, seeing what makes him tick more than just like, oh, remember he counseled veterans before Captain America recruited him.
Right.
Honestly, I'm kind of glad that Disney didn't really shy away from getting into like some political issues.
Okay.
I totally could have seen them kind of like, oh, no, we're just gonna not acknowledge this. The whole like, is the country or the world ready for a black Captain America? That
Yep.
whole idea.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so that ties into something that I thought was really awesome. I love that they actually introduced Isaiah. So they brought Isaiah into the show, which for a lot of people who are not maybe necessarily up in the comic book lore of Captain America, what you find out in Captain America is that there actually was other super soldiers that the government experimented on, or they tried to replicate Captain America's super soldier serum, and one of those characters is Isaiah, who was a black Captain America. So you find out there are other super soldiers that the government had made, and that it was very cool to see him being utilized and in the show, and that character and his story being told. And obviously, at the time he was Captain America, like in the show, he was prosecuted, because it was, during that time of non-acceptance and non-equality and, all those types of things.
Did you say prosecuted instead of persecuted?
Persecuted is what I meant. Well, he actually was prosecuted too, but for persecuted, they did throw him in jail. That happened in the comic books too, but that's the reason I stumbled on that word. I gotta just do one more thing. Let's just ban this person. Okay, cool. Sorry. I just had to ban a bot in my room. But yeah, so I really liked that. I thought that was really cool. And I also liked it, to your point, Sean, that it was like Black Panther in the sense that it was giving another, so it was giving the worldview of racial equality, but it also was giving, again, that other view within the African American community, and how there are, even within that community, people that sort of are blinded to what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, factions that are fighting for their culture and that kind of stuff. So, similar to how Black Panther had that sort of, internal African American struggle of like the conforming African American versus the African American that is looking at their heritage and their culture, and it's and the folks that maybe shed that because they think that's the right answer to quote unquote fit in, or be part of the larger majority.
Man, the Isaiah Bradley's inclusion was really like one of the more interesting parts of the story, especially when they really go into the fact how he was imprisoned and experimented on for decades for literally doing the exact same thing that Steve did in the first Captain America movie.
Right.
Just going against orders, going to behind enemy lines to free a bunch of fellow soldiers from a POW camp.
Yep. Yeah.
Just that whole thing.
Yeah, I think it was. I really liked it. I thought that was really cool. And then I loved Baron Zemo. Zemo was unbelievable, and he's just evil. I love how evil he is, and he was like proper Baron Zemo, which was the other thing I loved about the show, is that he had his fur jacket, he had the mask. They even say he is a baron, so he actually is rich. Like, it was so awesome. I'm like, this is perfect.
Someone who hasn't read any of the comics, is that just was that a complaint from Civil War when he was first introduced? How he was just kind of there? Like,
I don't.
I feel like in Civil War you don't really get much about what makes him tick, other than, you know, at least in the MCU he's from Sokovia, and that's why he hates the Avengers. I think that's all you get.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I think that's an overall complaint with a lot of the villains. I think a lot of people, like, in general, you get that complaint a lot, that they think that the villains in a lot of the Marvel films are, like, one-dimensional. They don't really have a lot of context or substance. So yes, I think that was a complaint with Zemo in particular, because Zemo just kind of got thrown in there and introduced. But I think it just shows the, like, the really, you know, the whole idea of how Marvel is so strategic. And I don't know why people haven't figured this out yet, but, like, when you see a character on screen for 2 seconds that's a major actor, they're gonna come back.
Yeah.
Like, they're doing that for the shock value.
It'll just take a decade.
Well, but they're gonna flesh out that character. So, like, and what I liked about the Zemo part is that now they're doing it with, like, even, not to say that he's not a recognizable or big actor, because he is. But he's not, like, you know, heavy hitting over the head like Samuel L. Jackson.
Right.
Or like, so, but they're even doing it with the smaller characters now, where it's like, we're going to get, and that's really the amazing vehicle of Disney Plus. You know, the fact that they have Disney Plus and we're getting this, like, connective tissue stuff, because we're not even getting shows. We're getting, I mean, essentially what Falcon and Winter Soldier was, it was a movie.
Yeah.
You gotta, like, you literally got a 6-hour-long movie to tell a story. Like, it's crazy. So they're really just making movies. Essentially, they're going back to the format of, like, a TV miniseries. And using Disney Plus to drive it, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be the way to go.
Yeah, and it's so cool, because it means they can take, like you said, spotlight on these characters. I love Sam and Bucky's relationship. It is so funny. Yeah. And my favorite line right out of the gate is, so what are we dealing with? One of the big three? That was my favorite. I love that. And the big three. What are the big three? Robots, wizards, or aliens? And he's like, and I love that he goes, well, Doctor Strange is not a wizard. He's a sorcerer. He's just a wizard without a hat. And I was like, that's amazing. So I love that little like that little thing, but I love how it's like a buddy cop movie in a lot of places, because they have that relationship where they just are, like, ratting on each other throughout the movie. But then in the series, and then when you get further down the road, and then, you know, Bucky goes down the alleyway, and I'm like, wait a minute. And then he's starting to find the beads, and I'm like, oh. And then you just are seeing Wakandans, like, they're like, we're here for Zemo. I'm like, this is shit. Yeah. That was great. Because they even tied that back to the series. They're like, by the way, did you not realize that he killed our king? Like,
right. Well, yeah, even, like, when I was like, oh, right, yeah, that's what happened in Civil War.
Like, they completely brought it back, and I was like, so it's just that attention to detail. And the fact that they did the Flag Smashers, and they had the Superhumans, like, it was great. It was, like, so spot on.
Well, that's another thing, actually, I really liked from this particular series, like, in terms of, like, the MCU world building.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, this is our, third story post-blip?
Post. Yep.
So you had
Spider-Man Far From Home.
And, now this. And I've now, just because pandemic and all the free time, I've now seen all of it. And, like, I feel like Far From Home, I don't know if it was just because there's, like, a Sony and Marvel thing, so, like, they didn't have total creative control over Spider-Man.
Right.
I feel like a lot of its world building was kind of flat. Because in the sense that, like, they're,
I guess,
like, oh, well, you know, everyone's back, everything's back to normal. We're going on school field trips, and everyone's having Carnivale and Venice, and but, like, what I like about this particular series, it's more like everything's not back to normal. There is a lot of strife, because the World Smashers and the I forget what it was called, but the world governments, like, and like really saying like, okay, like half of couple of billion people just like returned after 5 years of non-existence. There's gonna be some shit to figure out.
Yeah, well, I mean, so to give some fairness to the movie, so like I think this is something, and I think this goes back to the dimension, like the one dimension of the villains sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So the secret to Marvel's success is that all this stuff is genre based, right?
Right.
So the secret to all this is that like Spider-Man films are one genre, Doctor Strange films are one genre. Falcon and Winter Soldier are one genre. Like everything's kind of its own genre, so that they are essentially making entertainment that is the gamut of the genres.
Mm-hmm.
But they're plugging Marvel properties into those, if that makes sense.
I guess.
So I think part of what you're responding to is that with Far From Home, like it was plugged into that like Spider-Man genre. So it, as many Spider-Man books do, and not to say they all do this, because there are stories with Spider-Man where it is more world building because he's more like affecting the world as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically when Tony Stark gives him like a corporation to run, but his stories do tend to be more focused on like, again, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Like what's happening in my neighborhood, what's happening to the people around me. So I think they tried
Director Fury, I'm only a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Bitch, you've been to space.
Right. But that wasn't real Nick Fury. That was which is why he didn't seem like he was in his right fucking mind, because you find out later that it was Tallow.
Right.
So it's which was funny because when I was watching that movie, which we're going to talk a lot more about Skrulls in a minute, but when I was watching that movie, I was like, why is Nick Fury acting so weird? and then at the end, I was like, oh, that totally makes sense, because he's trying to like do a bad impression of him. Because he's not a, well, because they didn't do the Skrulls the way they normally do.
Or to quote Tropic Thunder, I'm a dude playing a dude playing another dude.
Dude, yeah, that's true. But yeah, anyway, so the idea is that I think they kind of kept it that way. Like they kept the focus tied on him. So I agree.
Yeah, the focus was definitely on Spider-Man. I feel like
I agree with you that they didn't build the world as much.
Yeah, and like I wouldn't expect them to like really like go into it during.
Well, he's also not an adult too. That's the other thing. Sorry to keep cutting off.
Yeah, I get that. I'm just saying, like, I feel like generally speaking, because this is kind of like it's a multimedia. Well, not that multi, but like it's a franchise that hasn't really been seen before. Just like basically an overarching story spanning so many movies and TV shows, and I feel like Marvel has, at least in the past, been a bit smarter putting in those little connective tissues between the different shows, between the different movies. Like even with Winter Soldier, like all these kind of like, oh, there's some loose ends, but like we know what's coming, and like, okay, this is probably gonna attach to this. This is gonna go to Secret Invasion. This is gonna go like
Well,
I feel like Spider-Man like was so much more like it's a Spider-Man movie.
Well, right, and I think to your point, I think because of what happened with the Sony and Marvel partnership, I think they were playing it more safe, so they put the focus more on Peter and the people around Peter, so that it wasn't as connected. It's weird to say it that way because I feel like it is very connected.
It is, because with the whole Skrulls and everything, but
right, but I think they tried to keep it like safely connected in the sense that if all the cards fall.
I guess just what I'm really saying is I just appreciate Falcon Winter Soldier more, just for really more going into like this is what the post-blip.
Oh, I agree.
Looks like.
I agree. I like
WandaVision was very focused on Wanda, so like it's okay why that one didn't really go into it.
Right. No, I agree with you, and I was actually going to say that too. I was going to say I really liked, like, I love Sam in the Bank, where they're like giving you the realization of like he hasn't paid taxes in 5 years.
Right.
He hasn't like contributed to society like monetarily for 5 years, so it's like banks wouldn't give you a like all these like very rational things.
You've had
Who pays you? No one. Do you
Right.
pay taxes? I haven't had a job. I've just been making sure you don't die every 3 seconds.
Well, I mean, he does kind of say that too. But he does say that funny, like the lines. Because you did you watch that part, or have you watched any of it, or no?
I have not seen a single second of it.
So he does actually say something along those lines.
Yeah.
To the guy, because the whole idea is that in that first episode, his family is losing their business, because the sister has been here, but he was blipped out of existence. So the sister was here, but he wasn't. And the business went into ruin. And he actually goes to he's like, oh, I'll go to the bank, because he's like, he's Falcon. Because everybody loves Falcon. And he thought, as being a celebrity, like he would get the bank to give them a loan.
So, like, you've been out of existence for the past 5 years. You have no financial history.
Correct. That's exactly what he tells him. And that's what we mean by I thought it was really unique, because it was a cool take on like, whoa, wait, there's like all these problems. And then to Sean's point, the Flag Smashers are like talking about how, well, now governments want to like, well, what do you do with all these people that just showed up when society has moved forward and like redistributed property, like did all these things. So
with borders and shit. Like, one thing I also was wondering about, like back in Endgame.
Yeah.
Yeah, the beginning of that, you hear when Steve's in like the little help.
Mm-hmm.
The self-help group or whatever is like, oh, I saw humpback whales swimming in the Hudson. Like,
correct.
Environmental implications and shit.
Well, because there's less, and I thought that was a cool detail. Yeah, because essentially we're making less pollution. We're not hurting the planet as much as we were.
But now that everybody's back, it's just
we're gonna kill those fucking whales. That's what we're gonna do.
They're not gonna kill them. They're gonna be like
mutated whales.
They're gonna be blinkies.
Yeah. They're going to have dual heads and shoot laser beams out of their asses.
Wait. Are we going to get the fucking laser sharks from...
freaking laser beams on their heads. Are those sharks with freaking laser beams?
No, they're just not fed. They're kind of...
Son! No, all right, so... awesome. I agree. I love it. And then... let's just talk about the fighting scenes really quick. The fighting scenes were insane. Like, him fighting with the wings.
Yeah.
Like, when he, like, takes on those guys at the beginning. Like, when he actually dive bombs through the helicopter and grabs the guy.
Yep.
It's just insane. And he uses his wings to, like, stop bullets. And he does, like, thrust hits into people.
When he faces super soldiers, and he's just a normal guy with robot wings.
Yeah, it's great. And they actually do Red Wing properly. They actually like give Red Wing a personality, and like that he has an AI like computer and stuff, which was great. I loved it. It was so good. And then of course the reveal of the Contessa, aka Madam Hydra. And of course it's Elaine from Seinfeld, which I thought was hilarious. I loved her. That she's just like, and again, Walker and U.S. Agent.
Yep.
So good. Like, that was crazy. His whole arc was beautiful. It was just sick and crazy. Like, when he brutally murders that guy with the shield, there's just blood all over his shield. Like, talk about dark. Like, people were worried about Disney, like, not going there or, like, not doing dark stuff. They went there. Like, I love that in the fight when you realize he took the super soldier serum. It's because he bent the pipe, and you just see Sam go like, oh, shit.
Well, even the other super soldier was like, ah, shit.
Yeah, like, everybody's like, oh, crap. Like, and that's the guy that could throw the shield and use it properly without the super soldier serum.
Yeah.
Like, he was just a perfect human, because that is true. In the comic books, he starts out that way. Like, he's just a really, like, essentially, like, the peak physical, like, human. And he's just able to fight. And then he actually gets the, like, he does eventually, because he essentially becomes a bad guy. Once he gets the super soldier serum, it drives him crazy, which is essentially what they portrayed on screen. And then he actually starts, like, trying to fight Captain America. But, the one thing I will say, the reveal of, like, his costume was kind of, like, just, that was, like, a throwaway.
Yeah, the whole, like, final, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, when they're, like, just quickly trying to wrap things up, it kind of seemed like, alright, well, we're running out of money, so let's just do these quick shots and let's get out of here.
Yeah, now, I don't know if that's also because of COVID.
Yeah.
Which, because if you think about it, like, if you think of all those shots, with the exception of the boat when they're having the meal at the end, almost all those shots were, like, 2 or 3 people in a scene.
Yeah.
They were, like, very tight shots, so they could have even, like, overlaid people into it if they had to do more crowds. So, I think maybe that had to do with that, which is why they kind of vignetted everything, so that they could just be like, okay, cool, we completed the shooting, and we're safe.
Right.
Because I think WandaVision even lent itself to that, too. Where a lot of
smaller scale.
Yeah, a lot of WandaVision was, like, 2 or 3 characters on the screen at a time, but they did, like, cross-cuts to make it look like there were more people. But it was, like, you could see they were consciously doing, like, smaller stage things so that they didn't have too many people on set. So, I think.
That does remind me, earlier tonight, my parents decided to watch a show because their normal stuff was being taken over by the NFL draft.
Yeah, I was to say aliens. Go ahead, go on.
And they put on this show called Name the Tune. Have you ever heard of this one?
That's a very old show.
No, they made it. They revamped it.
Well, right. I was gonna say it's an old game show. They've done it before, but yeah.
It has Jane Krasinski and Randy Jackson as the hosts.
Randy Jackson.
Yeah, he also lost, like, all the weight. He looks like a skeleton now.
Randy Jackson's gonna die.
Yeah, no, it's kind of creepy. He looks unhealthy.
Skeletor Randy Jackson. All right, got it.
But you could tell this was filmed over a year ago.
Okay.
Because they have crowds and an audience.
Yeah, that's scary. You can't do that anymore.
And I was watching this, and I'm like, oh my god, like, I'm getting anxious seeing these people.
Oh yeah.
Together.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about that. Like, social anxious. Like, if I walk in a room and there's like 12 people in it, I start wanting to punch people out and knock them out so I can run. I ain't having that shit. 12 people? That's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready for 3. Like, you want to hang out with 3 people? That's it. That's it.
We're all getting drunk beforehand to make ourselves more comfortable.
Oh, if you touch me, I'll kill you. I'll stab you. Like, if you come near, like you got to stay on your personal space, corner of the room.
What we all got to do is wear a hula hoop and, like, make it so it connects to
bubbles. No, that's a real thing. Like, I had a panic attack when, like, I was in, like, a crowded mall.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's real. That's real stuff. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I work in a school building where kids are just coming and going at all times. Like, some kids are just like, I'm going to go to school today. Some kids are like, I'm going to go to half the school today. And I'll come in the morning and leave in the afternoon, or I'll come in the afternoon and not show up in the morning. So there's no fucking control. The kids don't give a shit about masks. They think those are jokes.
Yeah, that's good.
I have to restrain myself from screaming at them.
This is why we can't have nice
things. Put their masks on every 3 seconds.
Yeah. No,
because they also don't understand it's supposed to cover your nose.
Correct, because air comes out of it, and the germs live there too.
Yeah, but they don't care.
It comes out of
and
its
they
holes.
Also be like, "Oh, I'm eating." I'm like, "No, you're not. You're holding a piece of food.
All the holes.
You're not eating.
All the holes that leave your body, germs can come out of them. So cover them all up.
Farts.
Cover them all up. That's the easiest way.
Especially your butthole. That's why we wear underwear, kids.
Yeah, that's why.
Oh my god. All right. Well, last point on Winter Soldier. So, Love. I'm just gonna try. I'm trying to bring it back. Bring it back. So, I love his. I of course love Sam's suit. He gets the full-on, proper Captain America Falcon suit at the end, and seeing him fight with the shield and the wings is insane.
Yeah.
It's just super duper awesome and cool. And even just like I loved when Bucky was fighting the Wakandans and they disabled his arm. That was crazy. They're like, he's like, did you know that could do that? He's like, no. And they literally just like they hit two things and just it fell off his body and it just like was limp. It was great.
I mean, it makes sense. It's not like they're gonna just hand over an arm to
Oh yeah,
an arm to a trained killer without like some sort of
like
kill switch.
Yeah, kill switch. And then you also saw a little bit of like how they deprogrammed him and stuff, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of really cool things, but yeah, the M was just amazing. Like it was so amazing. And his speech, like when Sam gives his speech about the world and like how people have to be, I was like, holy shit. That gave me chills. That was like, I'm like, this is so Captain America. Like this is what Captain America would say.
Anthony Mackie really nailed it.
Oh, it was so good. It was such a good performance. It was so good. And I was just like, wow. Like it moves you. It's like it's really like I didn't think that a show like this would do that, but it moves you.
I think what helped is they had ultimately like a sympathetic villain.
Right.
Anyway.
And then let's talk about the very, very end. I love that Zemo, who has now been brought to a high penitentiary prison, the Raft, that's literally in the middle of the ocean, still ends up killing everyone. He can send kill orders from a maximum security prison, which is why Zemo is the number one fucking awesome bad guy.
His Alfred is definitely a lot better than Bruce Wayne's.
Oh, 100%. His butler blew up a van of super soldiers. That man is ready to party.
The one thing I don't really understand, why
Yes.
did the Wakandans bring Zemo to the raft rather than to, Wakanda?
It is Wakanda.
No, they brought him to the raft.
Well, yeah, because they're no. Oh, yes. Hold on. They did it because now they have a partnership with essentially you could call it Operating Shield at the moment. So if you remember the Black Panther movie, the Bilbo Baggins.
Yes, yeah.
Martin
Freeman.
Yeah, thank you. He becomes the liaison.
He's a halfling from the streets.
Who's
Do you know he's also a rogue?
You also know he's a rogue. It's never gonna get old. He's like the ambassador to the Wakandans now, so they're working together. So that's why they brought him to the raft.
All right. I feel like in previous movies, with Smeagol.
Claw, but good.
There you go. With him, during Black Panther, they were so adamant about we are the ones who need to hold on to this guy. So
Right.
It seemed odd to me that Zemo was already in prison before Bucky broke him out.
Well, I think that's Bucky's doing because he also tries to talk to the Wakandans of I think they understood that if they killed him, they would be no better than a lot of people had that.
Right. I get that.
realization.
I feel I thought they would have brought him to a high-tech Wakandan prison rather than the raft.
I don't think they have one.
No, we don't trust him to be held anywhere else, kind of thing.
I don't think Wakanda has one. I mean, I would assume that they do, but in the comic books, I don't remember there being a Wakandan prison.
No, I'm sure Shuri can build a cell somewhere.
Oh, sure. Yes, sure he could do it, but I don't think they actually have one, which is part of why they did it that way. But I think that's going back to plans.
Right. I thought I heard somewhere it's potentially setting something up.
I think it is. I think they're going to set up Thunderbolts by putting him there.
Right.
That's what I think that's the potential setup for. Or it's going to just be a plot of Zemo staging a breakout, which he's done on other occasions. And having other supervillains that get, like, I think supervillains are going to start to not. There's now a new trend in this phase, if you guys haven't noticed it. The supervillains don't die anymore.
Didn't Mysterio die?
Not that phase. That's technically not this phase.
Okay.
I know it doesn't make sense, but it's not. But yes, Mysterio died, or did he? Because he is the master of illusion. But what I'm saying is that what they've at least set up on the Disney Plus shows is Agatha didn't die. Zemo didn't die. So I think they're starting to set up like the villains sticking around, which could potentially mean that not thinking that Zemo and Agatha would be together, but maybe there's now going to be some potentials of like villain team ups, which would be kind of a new dimension of stuff they could start doing. Where like, what if villains start to team up and it becomes like a dual villain movie and a dual hero movie, or like things like that? Maybe, I don't know. Like, just food for thought. Not saying that it's absolutely true. Any speculation we do is always speculation, but I think either I feel like that's the food that might be fueling one or two of the roads that they could go with Zemo still being around. Like, meaning essentially Masters of Evil is what I think they're going to do. That's the more realistic plot. Because then you could have Doom from Fantastic Four. You could have Zemo. Like, you could actually create the Masters of Evil. Or Kang the Conqueror, which is supposed to be the bad guy in the Fantastic Four movie. But, so you could start.
I just want Kraven to like pop out of nowhere and start hunting heroes.
They could have Kraven come, because they kept talking about a Sinister Six movie. But see, I think they're going to keep the Spider-Man stuff so arm length away that it's until they can know for sure that Sony won't fuck them over. I think you're going to see Spider-Man exactly set up like Sean described, where it's a lot of safety. It's a lot of like safety and like, this is a Spider-Man movie. Yes, it's going to have some little sprinkles of MCU stuff, but this is a Spider-Man story. Even more so with the next one, because it's really like going to be an homage to like all these Sony Spider-Man movies. Because they're having all these characters come back, which they're going to use the dimensions as a way to do it, which is smart. Because then they could just treat all the mistakes as just in a dimension, similar to how DC did. Because they did that on the TV shows, which I thought was amazingly, intriguingly fun. Where they just said, hey, every single DC property we ever had, it's just another Earth. It's just another Earth where things happened. That's it. Including Birds of Prey. Everything. It's just all on another Earth. So that's why it can all be here, guys. It's okay. So I think they're going to do something similar. I think Sony's doing that to also like rehash all their properties to get stuff up. But like going back to what you said, Sean, I think that's the Sony influence of being like, we should have Tobey Maguire in this movie.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. Awesome. I think we did this very well. We're going to pad through the next couple of things because it's not really much to talk about. But hey, the reason we're not getting any Marvel stuff in May is because of these schmucks. Which is the Bad Batch. It's a Star Wars show.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That was good. We talked about it. No, I'm not going to do that. That was mean.
I mean, it's cool. It's a spin-off of Clone Wars, and Clone Wars was money.
Yeah. So, essentially, these are characters you met in the Clone Wars series. When they say Bad Batch, if I'm not mistaken, they are all messed up clones, right?
They are clones who are irregular.
Right. So they're like, they're the scraps on top of the pile you throw out. They're like when you cut out a shape of construction paper, you know that like, you know, the piece of paper you leave on the floor, that's them. So that's these guys.
Yeah, pretty much.
And, you know, and they go on really dangerous missions. I think.
Yeah, they basically get sent to die, and they just don't, and it annoys the people in charge for the most part.
Right. Because they are highly trained.
Also, if I remember correctly, one of the reasons that they are unique is because they don't obey Order 66.
Correct. They withheld.
Yeah, so they actually are able to interact with Jedi and shit without immediately killing them.
Correct.
And it's really goddamn cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, cool premise, but this is a big part. And, of course, May is really has now become a Star Wars month.
May the 4th.
Because May the 4th. So, Disney is going to definitely keep May free for what's going. I should also notably mention, I didn't put it up, but, yeah, Black Widow dropped another trailer.
Oh, did it? Is that ever coming out?
Yeah, July.
One day.
No, it's
one day.
It's July. It's not one day. It's July. It'll get premium access like all the other stuff did. I will actually pay for that though, because I want to see it at home in my safe house. And then we're gonna jump into Loki. So of course Loki is the next big Marvel show. We've talked about Loki. The only thing that happened since we talked about it is, again, another trailer dropped, which gave you more insight into what Loki's going to be about. Give you a little bit more, and this is going to hit us in June. This is after Bad Batch. And Loki, the trailer was pretty funny. It actually gave you a little bit more about the time. Again, spoilers, if you don't want to know about trailers, when you see Loki's picture go away, just scroll past that. But yeah, Loki gave us a little bit more insight into the actual time agency. It gave us a little, so what he's actually doing there and why. So you actually find out that he is a variant Loki, which is going to answer the question as to why he's not dead. Because in Infinity War, he died.
The Tesseract Loki in Endgame?
Yes. So this is, if you remember in Endgame when they time traveled, this is the Loki that stole the Tesseract, because there was the debacle of the Hulk and stairs. Too many stairs. That Hulk, who we realized could talk even in the first movie, which I thought was a really nice detail. But they actually made him say more than just the couple of lines he said in that movie, which I thought was really cool, because then it filled the gap of like how by Thor Ragnarok he could fully talk. But the idea is that, yeah, so it's that Loki, and you realize that when Loki took the Tesseract, he completely fucked up time.
Yeah.
He created a bunch of variants. Terrible shit happened. So you get a little bit more into that. Still showed mostly the things we've already seen. I think they're trying to keep a lot of it tight, because I would imagine if we saw more, it would ruin a lot of the show. But I did like specifically when Owen Wilson and him going a little bit more elaborate with like talking, which I thought was very funny. I love when he goes like, do you think I'm going to like backstab you? He's like, you've literally backstabbed people 12 times. And he's like, but I won't do it now. Which I thought was great. And I love him being put in a room where he has to approve everything he's ever said. And then and then literally he goes, are you kidding me? And another piece of paper gets printed out, and he has to sign that piece of paper because he just said that. I thought that was hilarious. So it just looks like a lot of fun. Do you guys have any thoughts on it?
It is fun. Tom, we need to get Loki more work. Keep working, Loki.
Keep working.
We need to make sure Tumblr as a website still exists, so Loki has to continue doing stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, Supernatural ended, so what else do they have to talk about?
Loki's ass.
Wait, what?
There's a huge... It's... People like Tom Hiddleston.
Okay. All right, Zach. I put the Wheel of Time picture up.
Hey!
Go ahead.
Cool. So, Wheel of Time, it is the 13-book epic with one prequel book that was put out before Robert Jordan unfortunately passed. Well, let me rephrase that. That was put out using Robert Jordan's notes and one of his drafts. I believe it was finished off by Brandon Sanderson. Anyway.
And his zombie. He came back from the dead to finish the book. Zombie.
Oh, yes. Anyway, great series. Has some issues, but still really good. They are making, as I've said before, Amazon has been making a TV show with this. They are continuing to film. From what I understand, they are either wrapping up season 1 as we speak, or they are almost done with season 1, and then they're going to film directly into season 2.
They're never going to release this show.
So one of the things that they've been doing, because people have been asking about it for like the past few years, after they announced it, and then they're like, okay, now here's the cast, and then we're filming, yada yada, blah blah blah, and then COVID, they're like, okay, is there anything actionable we can see? So they released a couple of teaser trailers. The first one is of Rosamund Pike as Moraine Demidrad, my mastermind from the beginning of the show. It was like a 6-second clip of her like doing a magical thing and saying, basically, if you're gonna come around, get ready to fuck around. The second clip is of Lan Mandragorian. He is like this badass warrior who is mystically bonded to Moraine. He also inadvertently kind of like helps along with our mentally damaged hero into his suicidal ideation and gives him horrific life advice. But Lan also has horrible problems too. He is the uncrowned king of Malakir, a kingdom that was destroyed by forces of evil, and basically has a death wish. But he's too good to die.
Yay!
He is played by Daniel Henney. Not sure exactly what he's been in, but he looks amazing in the role. And what we can see is some darkness and Lan being like, you don't know the world. I'm like, cool, that's just because these are bumfuck kids in the middle of bumfuck town. And he'll have to escape. But then the last part is something along the lines of, you know nothing, which again, makes sense. But then Lan comes into focus as everything is on fire, and he is swinging his sword. And that is most likely the beginning of book 1, where it is Beltane, the like mid-summer, well, more like fallish festival, where everybody's like, cool, the crops are in, let's get drunk.
Let's get twisted.
And that is when monsters attack. Because the quote-unquote chosen one is in this village. And just so happens Moraine and Lan are in the village because, well, maybe the chosen one's here. And they're like, oh crap, there's like 3 chosen ones here. Fuck.
Do you have the knife? The knife? I want the knife. Anytime I hear the chosen one, I think of Eddie Murphy and the Golden Child.
There is actually a knife that is heavily involved. It is an evil knife that possesses one of the characters.
Oh, Father Doomsy.
Yeah, they go into, like, they're like, okay, we gotta run from all the monsters and shit, including the, like, Ringwrath-esque characters. And they're like, cool, we're gonna go in this evil city that is so fucked up, it eats everything, including the evil things that they're supposedly on the same side with. And Moraine just tells everybody, don't touch anything, everything in here is cursed. Do not touch anything. So what happens?
They immediately touch everything.
Pretty much. One of them sees like, oh, this is a ruby encrusted dagger. It looks fun. Let me take it. And it's been corrupting his soul for like 2 books.
Mm.
And then unleashes fucked up evil into the world.
That sounds very hectic. Oh boy.
It all connects.
No, it does.
The payoff in book 13 may not have been the greatest, but it was still cool.
Very, very cool.
Also, I still proclaim superiority over everybody else unless they have read all 13 books. Because, haha, fuck you. I prove my dedication.
Mm. Well, so that was a lot of explanation, but very well done. So yes, very, very small trailers have been put out.
One of the things that we know is that, it's going to be interesting that we see there are these things called heron-marked blades,
Mm-hmm.
which are the sign that you're a blade master and no one should fuck with you.
Okay.
We have seen one so far. It is going to be the main character's. He has not earned it. It was his dad's, and he kind of just picked it up and was like, can I use this to kill monsters?
Yeah.
But it is kind of katana-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And there is, Daniel Henney is of Asiatic descent. There is a section of this world that is kind of Japanish, which borders on the Hell Realm, essentially, called the Waste, where monsters live that no one wants to go into.
Sure. As one does not want to go to a place with monsters.
So we can't really see it very well, but in the 6-second video, Lan is cutting down a monster, most likely a Trolloc,
Right.
which are human-animal hybrids that are just made to despoil.
Gotcha.
Also, it has one of a meme character is Narg, who is an intelligent Trolloc who hides in a house and tries to eat the main character. And he's like, I am Narg, I am smart. And then Narg dies. But we're all waiting for Narg to show up.
That's crazy. Alright, well.
Yeah. There was my review of a 6-second video.
Yes, that was... So, as you can see, even though it's a little bit of time that they showed, it's pretty exciting. Obviously a very epic series. A lot of people love and have read. I'm interested to see it come to fruition. I hope, like many of the things this year, it doesn't take a long time for them to get it out. Because we
all expected to come out last year.
Right. Everyone's playing catch up. So, that being said, let's jump on to we're almost done. We only have 2 more things after this. So quickly, obviously, big Marvel release, Shang-Chi and the 9 Rings. Trailer dropped. I'm really looking forward to this movie. I think this is going to be a very under the radar hit, where people did not think this was going to be a hit, or won't have a lot going into this movie, but will come out with something very different. Essentially, going back to that genre idea, it's essentially a kung fu movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's Marvel doing a kung fu movie. I will admit this is one area where I am not the most well versed in the comic book lore for this character. So I myself have not read a lot of Shang-Chi. But I have a couple of ideas of things that may pop up in this movie, or possible things that they could definitely set up or push into other directions. For instance, be interesting if we got any type of Iron Fist vibes.
Better Iron Fist, maybe?
Or a redo of Iron Fist. Yeah, I'm wondering if that's going to be something that maybe comes into this movie as extra credit.
Please, dear gods, that way we're not stuck with Iron Fist that we have now.
Well, they've already kind of said that I think they are looking to recast Iron Fist, but yeah, because I think, again, there's been a lot of rumors and inklings that what's his face that played Daredevil, that they are intending to probably use him in the actual movie universe.
Yeah, because he's a good actor.
I think they were looking to keep him. Essentially, I think they're keeping everybody from Netflix except.
What's his face? The guy who played Reek.
Yeah.
Reek. He is Mink.
But yeah, Iron Fist. Shang-Chi and the Nine Rings. I really liked it. Did you guys see the trailer or have any reactions to it?
No, it just seems really cool, and I hope they do it well, and it doesn't turn out to be like kind of racist.
I don't think it's going to be.
Again, I hope. Like, I don't expect it to. That's just me hoping that.
Yeah.
I'm proven wrong.
I don't think it will be because of like movies like Black Panther and other characters that they've taken that have a very strong cultural background, or tie into a certain culture. I don't think we're going to see them mess that up. I think they understand the mantle and what it means, to do that properly. You know, so I think it's going to be good. But I'm really digging. I thought the action of the trailer was good, and I'm just intrigued to see, you know, similar to what Sean was saying, like from a world building perspective, like what area of the Marvel world is this going to increase or bring into focus, and then, you know, what are those little tangible ties that are going to pop in and go into that. You know, how is it going to amplify maybe some of these things that we've talked about already? Which would be interesting. It's intriguing because we haven't had any like little like Easter egg drops in the series on Disney Plus. I thought maybe we might get like rumblings of like certain things. You know, because definitely I think Loki, we're not going to see Shang-Chi and the Nine Rings.
Or if we do, it'll literally just be like,
well, it may be an alternate dimension.
Yeah. Like, he pops in and he's like, oh, shit. What are you doing here?
I don't think we're going to necessarily see that. But, but it's just going to be interesting. But, yeah, the movie just looks... It looks cool. It looks like it's got some really interesting things going on. And I'm intrigued to see them kind of take on that martial arts kind of movie. So that was a big drop. I'm down. I'm ready to see that. And then switching to video game news. There's not really much on the video game front. It is pretty much a dry spell for anyone that plays games. There really isn't anything out there, and I think it has to do a lot with. There's been a lot of disappointments in video games. Quite a few titles like Outriders.
Oh yeah.
So Outriders really kind of fell short of the mark. I think for a lot of people, Cyberpunk was definitely a debacle and a disaster.
Well, yeah, that was a mess.
Actually, that reminds me of something funny.
Yes.
So, Universal Europalis 4 is a grand strategy game put out by Paradox, and they have hinted this is going to be one. They released a DLC that they've hinted is going to be one of the last ones for it, before they move on to number 5 in the series. And it is so buggy, and the free update that came with the game when it came out is so bad. It has a 10% approval rating on Steam, and one of the few positive ratings so far just says, "This is able to make me forget that Cyberpunk was so buggy."
Wow.
Yeah, it's really bad, and it's actually causing people a lot of pain because any achievements they were working towards got killed in the new update.
Oh wow, that's asinine. That sums it up pretty well, which is just Cyberpunk was, so there's so many like falling short titles that I think that's really taken a lot of game studios to take a step back. And then on top of that, because no one can get the new consoles and that production fell so short, like nothing is coming out at the right time, and everything is getting delayed. Again, some of that's COVID, some of that's, I think, just them trying to position to a better time when they can sell more.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, the bigger titles anyway, they usually only release around like October, November for like
Right.
the holiday rush.
That too. It's also just a natural
It's
dry
really
spell.
like Nintendo that tries to release things in the spring.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're like New Horizon. I think Pokemon Snap's supposed to come out soon.
Yeah. So yeah, typically this is a dry spell, but like there's also some lingering stuff that we were supposed to get where we didn't get.
Yep.
And then because, like I said, the general console issues that everybody's had, it's not like those when those other games hit towards the end of the year, which I'm intrigued to see how that's all going to play out. But at the end of the year, I don't think they're going to be able to sell some of those titles, which is why most of them got pushed back to next year.
I almost wonder if they're gonna some titles if they're gonna try to like rush a port for PS4, Xbox Ones, like just to try to sell something.
It's possible, yeah. Because I know, like, I was really looking forward to the Hogwarts Legacy game. That's not going to come out. What was a couple of other titles I was looking for? Overwatch 2, God only knows when that's going to come out. That, like, they talked about the game and then, like, never talked about it again.
Yeah.
Like, it's just all news has fallen off the planet for that game. I've recently gotten into playing Smite, which you guys can check out some of those Smite videos as well. Smite's interesting. It's got gods in it, so it's not terrible. But the games we were going to focus on tonight of just like new things was Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, which they basically dropped a cinematic trailer. We all watched it. It's a very it's a very interesting world.
It looks like Brainiac won.
Yeah.
Apparently the only people who haven't like done who aren't fucked are just the Suicide Squad and Amanda Waller for some reason.
Well, I mean, that kind of makes sense when you think about it, because Amanda Waller is basically the DC version of Nick Fury, just much more evil.
I'm gonna say amoral, maybe not evil.
Okay, but essentially is just as crafty, just as paranoid, and just as like suspicious of everyone on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense that Amanda Waller, when the crap hits the fan, would fortify up and be fine. Now, and it sort of makes sense that the Suicide Squad would somehow be okay, because there are a bunch of criminals that are degenerates, but it kind of does. What I think is taking us all by surprise in this game is that, one, the actual Suicide Squad themselves seem to have powers and abilities they didn't have before.
And a lot of tech. Yes, that's another part. They have a lot of tech. And I think a lot of us are confused because this is, of course, made by the same folks that did the Batman games and Arkham Knights.
Yeah,
Rocksteady, yeah. So, and Sean was speaking.
I think we should let Sean just go off for a minute.
Yeah, go for it. I was going to set that up. I was going to say, Sean was saying.
Oh, you're good.
I'm confused.
Go ahead.
Even before we started talking, when you first brought it up, I looked it up, and seems more or less confirmed that it is part of the Arkhamverse, so Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, as well as technically Origins and Arkham Knight, even though Rocksteady didn't work on Arkham Origins. But,
interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was made. I mean, it was still all produced by Warner Brothers Interactive, but it was Arkham Origins was developed by like a specific subsidiary of Warner Brothers.
Okay.
Like their Montreal studio, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird because that studio is actually also developing the game Gotham Knights to be released the same year, but that one's not part of the Arkhamverse. I am so confused.
Intriguing. That does not make any sense either.
But like, the big thing after watching the trailer that made me really pause was that Deadshot's in it.
Right.
And that Deadshot looks absolutely nothing like the Deadshot that you see in Arkham City.
He went to the gym.
By extension, Arkham Origins.
He's worked out. He fleshed out.
He He changed race.
I mean, Michael Jackson did it. It's okay.
Like
I'm going to hell for that comment. I made that joke random.
Yeah, but it seems like for Suicide Squad, they wanted to like model him off of the Will Smith from the movie.
Well, not what's his name, the English actor, but I know what you meant.
No, Suicide Squad, Deadshot was Will Smith.
Well, right, but then they also have he's not Deadshot in the new movie, but it's an African American actor that's playing him.
I completely forgot they're making a second movie, honestly.
Yeah, it's an English actor.
Okay.
So
the second movie is not supposed to be shit. If that helps.
They said that about the first movie.
No, this
Okay.
one. No. I actually have faith for this one.
I also know someone who worked on this movie, and they're like, it's not shit.
No, well, because it's James Gunn. James Gunn, he's basically just going to give you an R-rated Guardians of the Galaxy movie. It's going to be great.
James Gunn did Trauma, and I can respect that and appreciate that, and that's why I trust him. Because he knows what absolute dog shit is.
I'm not going to go that far. I'm going to say that he did Guardians of the Galaxy. They basically are making a rated R version of Guardians of the Galaxy because that's what they want Suicide Squad to be in the DC universe. And that's why they casted him as well, and that's why they hired him. Because it's one of the smarter moves that DC actually did, which they were like, "Whoa, you made a movie with a bunch of misfits on a spaceship. Want to do a movie here?" It was actually them maybe thinking, hopefully.
I'm sorry, did you say they think?
It's possible. Yeah, so I agree with Sean. It's very odd. Because I, too, don't understand how this parallel goes from those games to this one.
It's also like the Harley Quinn from the Arkham games. Like, she's not...
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't necessarily, like, trust her to just be in combat situations like that.
Correct.
I don't know. Like, in the Arkham games, she was more as, like, a gang leader and just, like, sent thugs to go do stuff. She didn't actually...
Mm-hmm.
Like, she would occasionally fight, but it was never a boss, like wasn't ever a threat.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I wonder if there's gonna be like a maybe they'll give some sort of like, hey, we got from here to here, and you like get to know a little bit more about what happened. Because of course, in the Arkham storyline, the Joker's gone.
Yeah,
he did.
So Harley might now have been able to become more, kind of similar to the comic books. I mean, it's sort of the similar idea that she leaves the Joker and then she becomes her own, like, criminal.
Yeah, more just like in terms of like power set usefulness. Like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they already in Arkham Knight they already showed her like becoming more character-wise.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, unless they have the superhuman pills.
Okay.
Which, let's be honest, they probably do.
Maybe she pops those all the time so she can just punch through walls.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it looks... But weird as it looks, it could be fun. But again, this was a cinematic trailer. So...
Yeah.
We
Captain fucking Boomerang can teleport now.
Yeah, well, that's the tech part. So, like, we were all kind of like, well, how is he able to do that?
He can teleport. Also, King Shark is incredibly verbal and
he's very
is
intelligent.
a fan of Superman, and I am all for that.
Oh, I think it's funny. Yeah, I like that. Oh, look, it's the brave Superman. Then he just kills a man. I'm intrigued to understand that, where he just like melts a man.
It's a Brainiac thing. Don't worry about it.
Well, yeah, I know. He takes control of Superman's mind. I've read the comic books, but
oh,
Really, you've read the comic books.
I have.
I would have guessed.
But but I'm intrigued to see how they do it, or how they stick to, or what they stick to as far as storyline. So,
and if it's Arkhamverse, they're gonna bring in like Robin and Nightwing. And
well, sure.
Red Hood.
Mm-hmm. So like it's just a very odd title. Like it's one of those titles that just popped up, comes out next year, and just kind of I think took a lot of people by surprise. And so I thought we'd talk about that. And then last, Sean already mentioned it, Pokemon Snap comes out tomorrow. actually.
something fun I didn't realize existed, and I almost won a Nintendo system just for it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like my childhood. It like
I'm
spent hours
I'm
playing this. Like
I'm
I made a friend just to play this.
I am massively surprised that was what you two. Wow, I did not
It's
think.
a nostalgia factor for us, dude. Like, I fucking love Pokemon, the original Pokemon Snap. I love that game. I have an
Just going
emulator on
around
my
the
laptop to play it.
I did
Yeah,
not
just
think
going
this
to that
this
fucking
was the
Safari.
segment. This was the segment that was gonna make Sean and Zach talk to each other. Everyone talk at the same time. Jesus Christ. Okay, well, yeah. So Pokemon Snap, as you can see, people are very excited about it. I'm excited about it too. I did play the first Pokemon Snap, and I did go and get my pictures printed.
Mm.
Okay, that's intense.
We were
I
also
did.
like not old enough to have like actual money.
Well, no, you went to Barnes and Noble. You went to Blockbuster Video.
I didn't know that was a thing you could do.
Blockbuster Video. You didn't pay for it. They had booths at Blockbuster Video, and you could take your what was it?
Like the cartridge?
Maybe it was the cartridge. I don't remember what you actually physically put in. But you could upload the pictures you took, and you would print them on little stickers.
Ooh, that's cool.
So you could stick them on stuff. Well, funny you mentioned that. There is a company that is making a Bluetooth printer that you could do the same thing.
Huh.
And it looks like Pikachu.
Did you just like squeal?
Yeah, that was a sound. It's Pokemon Snap
That was
makes
a high pitched yay.
so Pokemon Snap makes Zach talk weird. He's like, oh yeah. Pokemon Snap really gets him going. It's crazy. I love that you guys are so excited about it.
Like, I kind of want
really
to switch
cool.
now.
Well, good luck finding one.
Yeah, well, I wanted one
I mean-
pre-pandemic, and that wasn't gonna happen either.
You could go. I don't know if you heard, but there was a literal Switch made out of gold that was supposed to be for Queen Elizabeth. That she never played, and they're selling. It's only $300,000.
Oh,
I think
that's
it's a Wii.
the price range that Sean's gonna be good with.
Oh yeah, no. Let me go buy $1,000 Switch from Scalpers. That's been great. But no, I think what you're talking about, Zach. I think that was a Wii. That wasn't a.
Really?
I think so. Yeah. I could be wrong.
So, just so you guys know, here I'm gonna get this queued up for you, since you guys are Pokemon Snap aficionados over there. Okay, apparently apparently the site that I clicked on cannot find this anymore, meaning that I think they have officially taken it off the internet. I was gonna try to get it for you, but here, well, I will supply a link to the chat so you could all see what I'm talking about. But for when you guys get your Switches.
Yo.
So you can print those Pokemon Snap pictures.
You made Zach cry.
I didn't cry yet.
It's a printer shaped like Pikachu, and it's an Insta printer. So you could.
Yeah, that's really cool.
He really is crying.
I'm not crying.
Why is he crying?
I'm not crying. It's just really goddamn cool.
Oh my god. Pokemon Snap has made him cry. He's like, I want the Pokemon in the color region now.
I'm gonna be the Pokemon master. I'm gonna be the best.
Well, I guess with this glowing recommendation, I might actually buy this with my $20 Nintendo money. Because
Are you not looking forward to the new Pokemon?
I was kind of indifferent to it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I
Again,
was.
For me, it's definitely the nostalgia factor.
God, yeah.
'Cause,
Like-
it was how have they not made another Pokemon Snap in the last 20 years?
Like, I was more interested in the open world Pokemon game, which I was going to talk about that too.
Yeah.
Like the Breath of the Wild style Pokemon, which it's about damn time. Like, I get it, all you folks that want RPGs forever, but it could still be an RPG. It just, the open world thing's cool. I love the Sword and Shield for that they actually, like, you have roaming Pokemon. I think that's very cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like natural, like it's good. It's not bad. Don't all fucking have a conniption. Like, it's good stuff. No, I was kind of indifferent to Pokemon Snap, but I've actually gotten more and more interested in it because I didn't realize, to Sean's point, I didn't realize that it was literally the second Pokemon Snap they've ever made.
Yeah.
And I thought the same thing. I'm like, how could they not have made another one? Like,
Yeah, no, the last one, the N64 to Switch, there was no Pokemon Snap in between.
yeah. So, I did start to get more into it, and it might be something relaxing to play.
This is totally gonna be a bunch of people are just gonna get high and look for Pokemon, take pictures of them, and it's gonna be the most relaxing thing they've done in years.
That's true. Show me your Pokemon.
Like, yo, I got this picture of a Snorlax,
And he was snoring.
and now, like, I'm
Boom.
gonna snore.
Well, you gotta hit
Boom.
it with a pester ball.
Yo.
Well, apparently they also expanded how you can take pictures and, like, the items you can use, and
Well, I would hope so.
I think they are keeping it very much online with the original, though. It didn't seem like they did talk about a couple of new things, but it didn't seem like they went, like, for leaps and bounds difference.
Yeah, I mean, the expansion is probably just an inclusion of, like, all the new Pokemon, because I think when the first one came out, it was literally just Gen 1.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't know if they went, like, too crazy in the mechanics. Again, I don't know how.
And from the
Alright.
trailer, it looks like it's still the same thing. You're on the rails, and you're just taking pictures.
Wow.
It's a game you play while you're super high. And
I think
Then
Zach
you
played Pokemon Snap differently than everybody else. I think everybody else played the game probably just regular, but he's like, it's important that you get drunk, high, and stoned before.
He had an interesting childhood.
I did.
I love it. But yeah, so apparently, the fact that Zach and Sean were almost moved to tears means that I probably will get the game to review it. Because if you two like it that much, I'm sure you guys want to see me play it. And probably curse that I can't take pictures of Pokemon fast enough because they run away.
Gotta get good.
Get good, son.
It's got to get good to catch a picture of them all. That was terrible.
You should feel ashamed for that.
Well, I tried. You think Ash would be as good at taking pictures as not winning any championships?
He won one.
Well, right, that's now. But in the original
Yeah.
show, he didn't win anything.
Yeah, he was.
That was
He
another
lit.
thing that took like 20 years to accomplish.
He just Ash just showed up and was like, "I have a piece of bread. Oh my god, my Pokemon's about to die. All right, here's the bread. You should take badges." Why? That clearly was you fighting with Pokemon. I didn't fight with anyone, sir. Take this badge. It's great.
So, what was it? There was. I remember seeing something. It was just. It was something along the lines of Ash Ketchum is every company's like ideal hire. He's a 10-year-old with 25 years of experience.
Well, yeah, that's. Right. There's also something wrong with Ash's like genes. He has some sort of disorder that doesn't allow him to age.
Also, the new art for the show.
Well, it's different. They tried to
Oh.
update it.
Yeah, but it doesn't look good.
Well, that's like what they did with Dragon Ball Z. They tried to update that too, and you were like, "Whoa, different animators worked on this episode. Oh, the old ones came back for this one. Cool. That looks normal. As
It's okay.
opposed to all this other crap that happened."
It's not like a Legend of Korra season 2 and 3
Oh yes,
where
I know what you're
that
talking
you
about.
could obviously tell that
Two different
they were
people drew
running
it.
out of money,
Yeah, you could tell the two different staffs took care of it. Yeah.
and that they were not paying the second staff as nearly as much.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah, it's it's different. Things gotta change. But all right. So we have talked for a while. This was a almost 3 hour long show. I was trying to keep it to 2 hours, and I failed again. We probably pulled too much to talk about like we normally do. But yes, so we've covered the gamut. So this is the world of Geek. The theme in a lot of our stories is we'd like this to come out now. Can you please make this for us? So COVID, as you can see, is we're starting to get past some of that, and things are starting to happen, but those timelines are still truncated and delayed. So we are still seeing that. Other companies
I will say, people still be careful.
Yes.
I mean, just look at what's going on in India, and they got too big for their britches.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically civilization is collapsing over there.
Yeah, essentially. So, yeah, it's everybody's got to be safe, and obviously that's why everything is taking a long time, because people are trying to be the safest when it comes to recording, doing things, and such. So but we're seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. Things are coming out. Things are happening. As geeks and as comic book nerds, as all the things that we are getting content. The content is coming, and people are seeing and finding more of what they want. And we didn't scratch the surface of some other stuff, which I'm gonna forego that for next time. But just use your best judgment. As always, please stay safe, wash your hands, and as I said before, vaccinating, just do it. It saves people's lives. It makes your life easier. It's what's going to get us further to normalcy. There's no downside to it. And think about the people sitting next to you. Think about the people you see every day. Think about the people you go to work with, and how much nicer the world would be where we could all be safe together. So, just use your head. Think about it. Think it through. Don't move to Florida because they, lifted a mask law. Just think about things that are normal, good, and safe. All right. That's all I got for my political messages for today. As always, I'm here with Zach and Sean.
Was that our cue?
I don't know. I just go quiet because usually you have some sort of crazy outro thing to do. So I just let that happen.
Be good to each other. Wash your goddamn hands. They're filthy. And I don't know. Go hang out with Narg the Trolloc. He's a bitch.
All right, that wasn't as crazy as it normally is. I'll take that. I'll take Narg the Trolloc. He did, he talked about political structures or countries or.
Oh, borders are not real?
Oh God. Why?
They aren't.
Why? I asked you for just a little bit, God. Why?
You brought it up.
I didn't know. I said you didn't talk about something crazy, and then
you brought it up by provoking.
Oh my
God.
Said
you didn't say anything. I'm like, oh well, now I gotta say something.
Oh Lord. Okay, Sean, you got it.
Borders aren't real. Fuck that shit.
Sean, you got anything? You want to say anything?
Good night to everybody.
Good night, everybody. Everybody, go get Pokemon Snap, because Sean can't, and he wants to live vicariously through you.
Yeah, me too.
It's so sad. I just think that I'm just now thinking of Zach just like hanging out outside of a GameStop, just watching all these kids play their Pokemon Snap on their
man.
And he's just crying. He's just crying in the window.
I never had one before.
Kid, can I see your Switch?
Pretty please.
Oh my God.
I need it.
That's good. That's a good image. That's funny. Oh my lord. It's so funny. Oh Jesus. It's so funny. Yes. And as always, please check out my Patreon, my website, the links down below. Please subscribe to the social media and YouTube. And of course, if you find any of this hilarious, informative, funny, or just a heck of a good time, think about following the channel and signing up for notifications to know when we're live. And it's, again, my Patreon and my website are other monetary ways to support the channel if you can. It's an amazing way to do that, and I do appreciate it. I appreciate the folks that have already supported and signed up, and I do appreciate you being here live and watching us. So thank you all again. Bye-bye, and we'll see you at the next video. Take care.
Bye.